amazing. Rocky, what is for you?
I really don't think they flew 90 billion light years to start a fight.
Sunset shield days so long gone, can't bring them back, no magic wand. Counting white cotton clouds, painted on the blue sky's shroud. And yet somehow that way is baked with eternal hopeful flair. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be a free days of you and me. I'm sailing. I'm sailing. I just can't wait for 3 days of you and me.
He's been cited by Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, Benny Johnson, Timcast, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and even the U.S. government.
But soon they'll wake up to see the summer sizzle in me.
We're doomed. Will this never end?
Dire wolves back and so are you.
Oh yeah,
Belvedere flying so the moon.
oh yeah.
And everyone's singing just the right tune. Maestro blasting on the jazz flute.
We are all participating in mandatory fun activities.
Jelly bean bonus, every flavor in the bag. Super movie star, but first gotta join SAG.
Keep our eyes open.
Wunderkind, super friend, where are you? Get a search warrant for the near clear blue.
It's scooping time.
And can't you believe that? We've been waiting on you, can't you see that? Put away the bad things they said to you.
You are a sad, strange little man. You have my
After all, just have to call and say you're some kind of
Because you are the special.
epic. Epic, yeah, that's what you do. I'm talking about epic, it's all you know how to do.
You wake up with
Epic, it's on repeat for you. Oh, epic, epic. Epic.
Hear ye, come on, come on. To the never stopping daily strife, and it's called simpler times, they beckon so. Floating on the water with no foam. Can we get away now, find a way now, somehow step out of this stream into a dream of slow it down. Jay says that he remembers a place before the never, ever, ever river severed our tranquility. Counting cars by Highway 30, sitting in the porch swing, guessing colors so poorly. Yeah. Is the next one a blue or red one? Maybe silver, maybe gray. What a way to spend a day.
Ladies
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the most fun you can have on a Tuesday. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, there's about 300 of you coming our way. LW Ghost is here, and we're here to bring you cheer. We've got a panel of excellence. And Calling Vera, we've sent you the link on your X account. I see you out there in the chat, but not on the screen or in the back chat. So hop in with us. Mr. Ghost, are you ready, sir, to dive into what is, putting fear in the hearts of Disney today?
Born ready. Born ready.
Born ready, not bored ready. Well, that would be different.
Well, sometimes, but yes, mostly born.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say welcome and howdy hello to all 300 of you joining us here on the show. But guess what? We know what you're here for. It's not just a Tuesday. It's to find out who's going to be on the screen with us today. Let's dive in right now.
But for me, it was Tuesday.
And look at this Tuesday crowd. We've got Gary Ambrosia with us, Andy Masterson, and Caro Brown joining myself and the Ghost. Welcome to you all.
Hello.
Hey, what's happening?
Tuesday.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Okay, folks, we are looking right now at the Mandalorian and Grogu box office numbers going down. And if you have not yet been there to that park place, this just got published about 20 minutes ago. It says the Mandalorian and Grogu box office numbers downgraded. It may have missed the $100 million mark. So I recommend you go read that, find out why. We now are assessing it probably did. And I think by tomorrow, Wednesday, they're going to be admitting that. But it'll be so, everybody comes for the headline over the weekend. So by the time we get to the correction and, well, it made 99 or 98, it'll be too late. Most people will never see that. And the mainstream media's job is done. So there we go, folks. That's where we are right now. And we're going to talk about it because it's seethe and cope time all across the legacy media as they try to figure out what are they going to say about a Star Wars that they thought was really popular. Like, they believed it. It's almost as popular as Taco Tuesday.
Let's take extra care to follow the instructions or you'll be put to sleep. And don't forget Taco Tuesday's coming next week. That's the day every rule-following citizen gets a free taco and my love.
And just like that, we're joined by yet another friend. Hello, Vera. How are you today?
Good. The link got lost in translation, but that's okay.
That's okay. I saw you out in the chat, and I thought, she's trying to find her way in here. We just got to tell her which place it went to. All right. Well, and the reason for that, folks, is we have a lot of people in transit going to different locations, and one of those locations happens to be Japan. If you've been following them on X right now, a lot of our friends are over in Japan, and that includes Kara. And Kara handles the scheduling for us, and so we hope they're having a great time. We're managing, but I promise, folks, the hamsters only go because our team has grown and grown, and we have such excellent people. But you can help us stay afloat by sending in super chats and gifted memberships, and we will appreciate that. An invitation, never an obligation. Now, it does seem that the super chat goal-ometer, we're going to call it, is broken again today. Come on, YouTube. Isn't it? Days of this from YouTube. Hey, YouTube, get it fixed. Let's go. The goal is for 50, and I don't have Lauren with me today, but I will keep track of these folks. In fact, I can tell you that right now we are at 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 50, and I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to go back to old school right now. I'm going to keep little tally marks on this.
I was going to say, notches on your virtual gun.
That's right. So 3 out of 50, and let's get those super chats up on the screen right now. Packing Protons for 5. I didn't know Real Life Fake Wizard was going to be on camera unmasked last night. Who knew his name was Philson? That's right. Phil Chanson. Thank you, Packing. Juliet for 2. Evening, Pro Panel and Pro Riots. And good evening and good morning to you, Juliet. We've got Packing Protons again out there for a member for 35 months. How far off is my 60 to 70 prediction? Well, it is a little bit off. I think it's going to come in at either 80 or 79. So somewhere around there for the 3-day and for the 4-day, that's where things get tricky. That's where things get tricky because what we're being told we have to believe now is that Sunday made 21 and that Monday's going to make exactly 19 or more. And I'm sorry, even though it's Memorial Day, there's typically a pretty big fall off. So, excuse me if I don't buy it, that they're going to land exactly on 19 and hit exactly 100 million. And all of that's going to be revealed tomorrow No. I've watched these numbers drop. Flying Blind is out there for 2. Good day all. It is a good day, and it's a good day because you're with us, Flying Blind. Thanks for being there. Kaylee out for 5. They are likely canceling Doctor Who Christmas special. Mike and Grok lost. Grok to real life fake wizard being hungry and just teriyaki-ing Grok. But he was hungry 5 minutes later. Poor Mando and Guac. I like Guac. Packing for 5. Don't mind the new clips, but not sure the music flows as good as the old intro. Well, the good news is it's a flavor of the day. We'll be changing it out, but the summer intro is here. We'll keep it until July 4th or so, and then we go back to the old intro, and, well, fall comes after that, and you know what happens then. We'll be playing Poison Apple Kiss. We got First Dragon Queen for 5. Had my rant this morning, preparing my sketchbook for tomorrow night. Fix your counter, stop breaking it, and hugs for all. Thank you, First Dragon Queen. Greatly appreciated. Folks, we're going to click the button. I don't know what will happen, but to play the clips, we got to click the button. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, we all stayed on the screen. And MedMut is gifting 10 wonderful WDW Pro memberships. Thank you, MedMut. It truly is the year of you.
This is one big cultural appropriation, don't you think?
What do you mean? We're just celebrating the year of MedMut.
Oh, we can get him wings still. Yeah.
That's right. He'll fly. Please don't stop flying, Wilton. Just keep going higher. Keep going higher. Mass Wolf has become a YouTube member. Welcome aboard. Happy to have you on Team Pro. And then where do we go? Well, Ken Reihart, who says for $2, you know, that super chat counter never works for my chats. Ah, I get it. Because you send in the 199s. Yeah, I know. We should count those sometime. And then the greatest YouTube artist online, there's no doubt about it, Fat Steven, dropping in 10 pro memberships. And by the way, you can see Fat Steven tomorrow on the show as we get ready to have many of our friends, young and old, joining us for the camera reveal of yours truly, where we'll all find out, does he have uneven ears, a single unibrow that goes from side to side? Folks, you decide tomorrow. Studio will be on full display, and forevermore on camera shall be your friend Pro. Thank you, Fat Steven, for the not only for the art and making this channel be what it is, but for the gifties. We appreciate you.
Every time a membership is gifted, a content creator gets his wings.
Is that gendered language?
We're not at Magic Kingdom, Dad.
God dang it, from the bottom of our hearts here on the WDW Pro channel, thank you.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 4 out of 50 on the Super Chat goal today. We'll see if we get there. It would be real nifty, but it's just a joy getting to spend time with you. And then, wait now, hang on a second. How are we going to pronounce this one? Is it Ska, G, or Gee, or is it Skaggy, or is it Skaggy? I don't know. Ruh-roh, Shaggy. For 2, I'm doing this because I felt left out. You know what? You're part of the team now. You are seen, appreciated, and heard. You are truly one of the gigawatts.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into tomorrow's headlines early and delivered up on a platter of chatter for the drive-by journalists who stop every day and say, what are they going to tell me? What is it that I'm supposed to be covering tomorrow? I'll take the opposite opinion on it, of course, but what is it I'm supposed to be covering? One thing you probably shouldn't be covering tomorrow is this. Ladies and gentlemen, they've brought Bluey to Disney World, and let's just say if Disney doesn't own it, they don't really have much interest in making sure you've got it, okay? So here you go. Here's the thing. So there you go. That's how they brought Bluey to Disney World.
That was a great impression of a chicken. I just want you to know that.
It was all in.
It was pretty good.
Is that
It wasn't bad. I can do better.
someday?
That's a good thing Lauren wasn't here.
Wait a minute. Gary says he can do better. Gary, you put up or shut up, man. What do you got? What's your chicken?
No, I'm not a dog. I don't do tricks for you. I get paid for that kind of thing.
You brag about it and then you pull back away from us.
No,
It's
write
like-
the check. I'll cluck all day for you.
We've been teased, ladies and gentlemen. We've been teased. All right. We'll see. But folks, there's one thing for sure. There's no teasing when it comes to the Mandalorian Grogu, and the Cope and Seethe is here. So let's draw near to the first
Then
story.
release them.
Let's release the hounds onto poor Disney. Here we go. All right, folks, take a look at this. They are changing the narrative as we speak. And it's starting right here with space.com. Richard Edwards says The Mandalorian Grogu wastes a potentially brilliant era of Star Wars. Oh, no! The biggest fans, the biggest friends of Disney are turning on them. The franchise's latest big screen outing gets sidetracked in less interesting corners of the galaxy far, far away. These are not the kinds of things they used to say, right? This goes on in great detail to talk about how we are sidetracked right now in Obi-Wan, Andor, Acolyte, Ahsoka, Bad Batch, Visions, Book of Boba Fett. And it basically says, we shouldn't be here. This is, in fact, what it says. In such an intriguing era of Star Wars and universe history, it feels like a heck of a waste. And what a way for Star Wars to be. Gizmodo is putting it this way by Justin Carter. Fine. Let's talk about The Mandalorian and Grogu box office. It's got its fair share of baggage, but The Mandalorian and Grogu still managed to make a decent penny over Memorial Day weekend.
What's a decent penny? How are we
Decent penny.
Nothing,
that?
I guess.
Yeah.
We dipped into it on Friday.
They went to Filoni and said, a penny for your thoughts. And he said, I'd like a dime, please. And that way lies madness, I tell you.
We dipped into it Friday. Now it's time to look at The Mandalorian Grogu with some slightly more complete numbers. Per Variety, the film made an estimated worldwide box office of $163 million. You all know that's probably going to go lower by Wednesday. The majority of that came from domestic markets, overcoming what seemed like a weak debut when compared to 2018 Solo. As a more family-friendly entry, the series has seen it quite a while. It looks to be doing fine, while still not being a record breaker like other prior Star Wars films. Oh my. You see, folks, if you read through this, they're not too keen. They're not excited about this. There are a few big movies in the next few weeks, including Backrooms and Masters of the Universe, that'll cut into Mando and Grogu's box office. But if you think this movie determines Star Wars' theatrical future, you just keep an eye on Starfighter instead. Oh, really? Okay, well, that's okay. Next thing, moving on then. Den of Geek. One more I got to show you, and then we'll talk about this. The copium that is going all across the articles today. David Crow at Den of Geek. This is one of my favorites. The Mandalorian and Grogu box office confirms a new reality for Star Wars. And it's not bad. Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu opened below Solo, a Star Wars story, and that's okay. Probably. These are great. These are great. It says the numbers are in, or at least initial estimates from the Mouse House, and Star Wars: The Mandalorian and Grogu surpassed expectations this holiday weekend. Did you all? They're still going with this. That it surpassed expectations. It's 20 million below what they were hoping for, but by golly, it surpassed expectations. According to the studio, the latest movie set in the galaxy far, far away took off with an estimated $100 million in the U.S. I guess. I think it'll be lower when we get another 24 hours under our belts. Flying well past its pre-weekend estimates, which had landed it somewhere between 80 and 85 million during the 4-day time frame. That's not true. That was the 3-day. The 4-day was always well above 100. So here we are, folks. Here we are. The copium is real. And I'll give you one last paragraph on this. You ready? In the modern Disney era of George Lucas' creation, the opening could be written off as weak at a glance, coming in below what was previously perceived as a major disappointment for the brand. Solo. Yeah, that put the entire franchise on ice for 7 years. I would say that was a disappointment. The 2018 flick opened during the same Memorial Day holiday 8 years ago and grossed 103. Also worth noting is it made 84 across 3 days, similar to Mando, despite a decade of inflation. And that's right, folks. If you adjust for inflation, Mando is $30 million below Solo. I'll say it again. $30 million below Solo. Gary, the authors out there, it's just beginning. The shift is just happening. But they've got to find some way to be on the right side of the market. This is an 80-20 issue at this point. Everybody knows this is underperforming. But for so long, they have said that Star Wars needs to do what made the market mad. How do they make the pivot, Gary? What is their plan going forward?
I don't have any idea, and neither do they. Like, all I can tell you is Andy was telling me yesterday that he described this movie very well in one word, and that was it felt like a eulogy. And when I went, there were two people in the theater, up to 10 minutes before the screening started. To me, I don't understand how a movie that is so well directed and so structured properly can be so unentertaining and so disappointing. I've never once seen a bad performance out of Sigourney Weaver except for this movie.
Oh, she's bad.
Like I don't know how that happened. I mean, I've seen decades of her work and I've never seen her terrible, and this was just awful. What's their pivot?
The media. How does because the media wanted all this, and the media told us this wasn't going to happen. How do they get back into their authority position they want to be in, where they are the purveyors, the prognosticators of all things entertainment? How do they do that now that they've destroyed Star Wars?
The best thing that they could do is probably ignore it, like they ignore everything else that's significant or hurts their narrative.
Could, should, maybe will.
I mean, really, like the ticket sales are ridiculous for this. I spent $18.50 on this movie.
Yes, and that's something that a lot of people don't know. There's a reason that we don't know the number of tickets that are being sold. Right. Nobody is talking about that because I think that it would be shockingly embarrassing. Because the ticket prices are so high, that's lifting the box office. Without that, it would be nowhere close to 100 million.
And when we compare it to Solo, which is what, 7-8 years, how many more
a lot of
big
inflation in there to adjust for?
But not just inflation. The number of large screen venues with the higher ticket price has multiplied like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So at its best, it had no possibility of putting as many butts in seats. And so, there you go.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel like this was just a filler movie. Now, obviously, we've heard that it was sort of originally conceptualized as a season 4, and they decided to splice it all together basically in the creative process. But I feel like this is just filler until they get to Starfighter, because Starfighter's got to have a mega budget. Ryan Gosling, Mia Goth, Amy Adams, Matt Smith, like that I feel is what they're really banking on. And it reminds me of what happened with the Batman, because the Batman came out super popular. Penguin was supposed to come out only a year before the Batman Part 2, but because the Batman Part 2 ended up being so separated because of the strikes and delays and the creative process and whatnot, and what happened with DC, this was just sort of thrown into the mix the same exact way as that was.
Yeah, and the problem with that is that actually is maybe the worst thing they could have done, because where Star Wars is, you can't do a filler movie. You can't come back after 7 years and be like, what if we did a film where we take down like 2 of the Hutt twins that nobody has heard of unless they watch the cartoons? It's just, like, this isn't Thrawn. This isn't Darth Vader. There are no stakes here. Who cares about 2 slug twins? I don't care about slug twins. Carol, Vera, they got to drop. They've got to drop the sequel trilogy. I don't know how they do it, but I also am interested in seeing how the media is going to turn on this, because if there's one thing I know, they love being influential, and they're not going to be influential the longer they hang on to the false narrative that this is Russian bots and trolls, that it's a vocal minority that dislike the sequel trilogy. This franchise is toast until they do so.
Well, I think that that's really where they're going. Like at this point, I don't think that they're going to completely shift. I think that these people are too entrenched in pushing their ideology, but I do think that they are slightly shifting, because we see the way that they're responding to this. They're not just outright saying, oh my God, it's the best Star Wars movie out of Disney Star Wars movies like they generally do. And I think that maybe they're slightly trying to like dip their toes into what if we were actually on the side of audiences a little bit more. But again, I don't think that they're going to make that jump anytime soon and actually maybe properly review things, because I think at their core these people are not reviewers, and they're not Star Wars fans and they're not fans of entertainment. They're just people that couldn't make it at mainstream media like MSNBC's. And so this is just the best grift that they found possible at the time.
You know, one of the ways that I knew something was changing was when Paul Tassi of Forbes told me on Twitter, yeah, duh, everybody knows the sequel trilogy is unpopular.
Paul Tassi I was
like, oh, really? I was like, oh, really? I had not heard that the shift had happened like this. Okay, all right then, okay. So, Carol, we're down now to the nitty gritty. What say you? Are they going to admit that the sequels were a failure, or are they going to come up with some avant-garde way of getting out of this and claim, well, you know, times have changed and there's a backlash and there's maybe they'll claim the new generation coming up. They just don't understand them, you know? They're so different, darn it.
I think it depends on who's in power, because these journalists like to cater to people in positions that they can take advantage of. And so it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of these journalists like create articles in order to earn the goodwill or eye of a person that they're trying to warm up to. And I think the one thing I think is super interesting is prior to this movie coming out, the journalists were already throwing up smoke screens of, you know, to deflect any criticism. You know, the movie didn't have a big budget, or they had to do it in short time. And the movie comes out and they're like, yeah, we knew it sucked like the entire time. It was like, well, that's an interesting pivot to make when you were prepping for us to, you know, come after the film. So it's, but, you know, the thing is that all the deflection that they used in last week's smoke screens weren't actually what I would consider the problem with the film. Like the lazy writing, nobody talked about that last week, right? It's like, oh, you know, we had to like really crunch. So we got like some really shitty writers, apologies for my language, to connect two scenes together. You know, like that one scene where the Mandalorian had to sneak up onto the safe house that's surrounded with zero cover. Like are you going to try and sneak over the dunes? Or are you going to crash into the building? No, we just snap. And he just walks into the room. I was like, oh, wow, that was just...
It's what made it feel like a Saturday morning kids cartoon, right? We didn't have to... Don't worry about that. Just let's go where we got to go. Skip all that stuff. Nobody cares about that anyway, right?
Yeah, and it was so jarring because there's lots of places that are in the film that actually, like, I was like, somebody put like some serious thought into this, right? And then it's coupled with like this immature writing style. So it feels like somebody was trying to actually make something good with this, but then kept meeting roadblocks or whatever obstacles that were coming in from the studio, because that's the nicest way I can say that.
Yeah. Andy, are you familiar with Scott Mendelson? Have you ever heard that name, Andy?
Oh, Scotty, yeah. Yeah.
I want to give Scotty the Scott Award. I've named it after him. I think he's going to like it because he liked himself a lot. And I want to give Scotty the Scott Award because it turns out that even as the shills flee, even as they turn tail and run, there is one man who is unafraid, who is unabashedly there till the very end, right? He is the doctor who claims everything's fine, standing there a day after the burial has happened. He's still out there at the gravestone. Scotty Mendelson, who, by the way, I did not realize had blocked me until moments ago. But Scott,
how rude!
Scott will come back. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Scott will come back, Stephanie. He will return. I believe in Scott. Let's see. Here's the one I wanted, though. Scott Mendelson says, sure, a $100 million 4-day holiday opening weekend is perfectly okay for a $165 million Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu. And you folks, you can go read about it. You can get the Jim Cramer of entertainment over on scottmendelson.substack.com. So there you go. It's perfectly okay. What Scotty doesn't mention, of course, is that the 165 is the tax credit request from California. It's actually above 200. Probably doesn't include the salaries for Pedro, Sigourney, Filoni, Favreau. And, oh, by the way, it doesn't include the marketing. So this thing has a $600 million break even as declared by Disney and THR. That's right. It's from Disney. Go fight with them. $600 million break even, and it's on its way to less than 400. All right, Andy, what do you think? Scotty is well, he's Scott, and he gets the Scott Award.
Scott Mendelson would report the story that Viagra is being recalled and why it's a good thing because, like, you know, the effect is overrated anyway.
You mean the blue never bothered you anyway?
Actually, they will try to find the bright side to anything. It's kind of like you said, like, well, hey, we're at a funeral, but at least like it's less carbon imprint or something like that. They're
every
trying to
time.
find that bright side.
But Scotty, I mean, I'm impressed. All the others, they got the signal. The message was sent. It's time to pivot. This is not going to work. Save yourselves. And Scott's like, nope, I'm still there, man. I'm never moving. I'm perfectly happy to be Scott Mendelson. All right, Pale, any other thoughts on the media and how they're getting ready to make the shift? I don't see any other way. Even Scott one day will come around. There's no saving this anymore. Star Wars is toast, at least the Disney version, and they've got to know it.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the video game industry, we've seen more than half of the media's numbers be cut because they're so out of touch with audiences and they're not getting clicks anymore. And so they've, decided to start trying to get those outraged clicks, and it's not even working for them. And well, I think that we're going to see even more attacks on fans, potentially in normal articles, maybe in reviews. They'll try to be a little bit more neutral to play both sides, but I don't think that it's really going to work because nobody likes them or trusts them anymore.
I'll tell you one thing I don't know. This is in my blind spot. Star Trek. Because Star Trek has already been here. How is the media handling that right now? Has the media made the pivot and recognized Star Trek is terribly damaged and they're a part of that, or are they ignoring it?
About it? They're not. Yeah, and it's really interesting because, and I won't expose who my source is, but like some of the people that work on the Star Trek cast are like pushing back on some of the scripts that they get, and they're just told to go through the motions. So I think the amount of like, I wouldn't want to mess with a Star Wars fan base, but I definitely don't want to mess with a Star Trek fan base like at all, because if the fans pick up like on some of the stuff that's going on, like, you'll have like, they'll come out all dressed up in cosplay, like ready to fight for their IP. Like they're ready. They love their IP so much in Roddenberry's dream. And I think that's what's really disappointing for a lot of Star Trek fans, aka me, is that Roddenberry, he was always about like, we came from different walks of life, and yeah, we have friction points, but at the end of the day, we will overcome this in order to see through the mission that's for the greater good. Where the new writers don't know how to do that. And they're too busy focusing on interpersonal conflict and having to make one person be like the super special DNA child that's going to go off and do things while the white man cries in the corner. And, I think we're all done with that narrative. I'd like to move on to something more intriguing.
Well, that does bring up an interesting speculation on my part, if I may be so bold. We live in less optimistic times than the days of Star Trek and Star Wars' origins. We live in times when people don't believe the best is yet to come, a lot of them. And that's the generation of writers that are writing these things. So they're just reflecting their own pessimism and their own negativity and their own lack of faith, I guess. They're wrong, but, that's where they're coming from.
This is why I think they destroyed Epcot, right? Which was this futuristic, hopeful, optimistic.
Exactly.
And then the Imagineers, the new crop got in there and really damaged it. And I think it's because all the talk about the seas are rising and you're a virus on the earth and people don't really matter and this kind of stuff. I think it drove out the optimism. I think it drove out the hope for a future. And as a result, nobody believes in the future. They actually believe that they are intrinsically bad. And that's created this sad situation we're in. That's how we got into a point where they thought, oh, well, the audience wants us to deconstruct the mythos, the heroes of Star Wars and Star Trek, and turn them into sad sacks on the screen. But folks, I mean to tell you, that's not what people wanted. And here, you might say, Pro, why is there a beaver on my screen? Well, that's Hoppers.
Why is there a beaver on the screen?
Exactly.
Is
You
that
read
a
my
beaver
mind.
on your screen, or are you just unhappy to hop?
Hoppers is the film from Pixar that we mocked all this spring, and that's because it's a flop. It's Floppers. But Floppers made $385 million. According to the current projections for The Mandalorian Grogu, we now believe that 385 is going to be tough for it to pull off. It is actually in a very difficult race to beat this film. Let me say it again. A Star Wars movie after 7 years of hibernation, a Star Wars movie, big return to the silver screen, might be defeated by a CGI beaver film that was a flop. That's why the media is ready to drop this narrative, I believe, minus Scotty. Because Scotty Scotty never gives up. It's the Scotty Award. And by golly, he's earned it.
At least that's what I hear.
Wait, what?
Let's go.
Jabba, right?
Oh no!
It's a Sarlacc.
Star Wars Outlaws pre-order available now.
Guys, this is one of, if not my most anticipated game of the year. Anything that's got me going pew, 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 you know, sign me up.
I gotta say, the concept of this is enough for me to go, I might even pre-order this.
Well, Dave Filoni is in the hot seat. There's no doubt about that anymore. If you look at USA Today, Brian Truitt says, Filoni's vision for Star Wars future, dare to be great. That's how they were positioning this just before The Mandalorian and Grogu came out. I have doubts now that they're continuing to see, sun rays and sunshine ahead for this guy. The Star Wars galaxy doesn't have George Lucas anymore. Instead, it's got the next best thing. His apprentice. Remember, they said this before the weekend came out for Mando. Dave Filoni worked closely with Lucas in the 2000s while honchoing the Clone Wars animated series, the most significant Star Wars project for fans between the prequel trilogy and the sequels. After working on several franchise TV shows like Ahsoka and the Book of Boba Fett, boy, wouldn't you love to have those to your name, Filoni is now the Jedi Master, being tapped as Lucasfilm President and Chief Creative Officer in January. Quote, I'm very excited and I feel very privileged to be in this position, he said. I learned from the best, not just George, but the people that were foundational to Lucasfilm during the prequel era, some from the original. But things are not going well for Mr. Filoni. Even Polygon now is mocking the man who's in charge of Lucasfilm for his cameos inside the Mandoverse. Trapper Wolf is his name, and they say that his cameo actually reminds people of Star Wars' biggest failure. And I would say that's not the way you want things to go down, is if you show up, you don't get the Stan Lee reception. Instead, people say, yeah, kind of reminds me of total and utter failure. Now, what is the total and utter failure we're talking about? Well, folks, I am here to tell you that I believe that Star Wars fans are doing something we have seldom seen in entertainment or even in the marketplace in general. And that is, I believe Star Wars fans are actively punishing Lucasfilm for The Last Jedi. And I mean that, and I'll show you why I think that. Solo: A Star Wars Story was not terrible. It's not a good movie, but it's not terrible. And yet, Solo: A Star Wars Story made $393 million, more than Mando is likely to make now, in 2018, just after The Last Jedi came out. Now, of course, The Last Jedi did pretty darn well, making well over $1 billion, but it was a fall off from The Force Awakens. But it also, I think, was a bait and switch that many people truly hated. And I would also dare say that Rise of Skywalker falls in that same category. Yes, Rise of Skywalker made more than $1 billion, which is less than half of Force Awakens. But I also think that people showed up to that film just because they said, I've got 30, 40 years invested in this franchise. I have to see how it ends, even if it's terrible. And one of the reasons that I think that that's the case is because if I go down and I look at the leg out, 2.9 is the leg out for this film, which is to say it didn't even make a 3X. This thing was very much front-loaded. And it seems like Star Wars movies now all may be front-loaded, as it's down to just the Disney fans, and there aren't many of them. Nobody's really going to see these things anymore. I want to ask the question of the panel and just have a free-form conversation on this. Is this still about The Last Jedi? I know a lot of people hate the rise of Palpatine. They hate the rise of Skywalker. But I think this is The Last Jedi. I think this has been all the way. We're now at a decade of just total annihilation for this franchise ever since Rian Johnson came in and subverted expectations, destroyed Luke, destroyed the sequel trilogy. And I think that people are not ever going to allow them to get off the mat until they drop that. I think Disney has been in a 10-year denial, and I think now we can see it in box office patterns. Vera, I start with you. Do you think that's true? Do you think that the fandom, maybe this is revenge of the fandom, and maybe that's why Filoni's in the hot seat, he gets no relief until the sequels go away?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's part of it. Obviously, we've just seen a decline in storytelling quality overall over just Hollywood in general over the past decade. But that was really, I think, when fans started to say enough is enough. And that was a breaking point for a lot of people. And that's why these new shows have been scrutinized so much. I mean, look at The Mandalorian. Why would I go and see The Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters as an average customer if I could just watch it on streaming in a couple of weeks? And that's like a situation that they themselves have created because they've pushed that so much. But I mean, unfortunately, I'm the first person to say I'd love for Star Wars to be fixed. Knights of the Old Republic is one of my favorite video games of all time. It was such an amazing story, and in theory, I'd love to see a show of that story, and I'd love for them to turn things around, but I don't think that they're going to do that based on the activists that are working at this company. Filoni himself loved Kathleen Kennedy. We see what happened with him, but they also just the people that they're hiring don't know how to make Star Wars feel emotional anymore and to form that connection with the audience anymore. And I do think that that's because they've forgotten the hero's journey. They don't know the teachings of Joseph Campbell anymore. They want to add current labels to brand new stories, and they've moved away from like the mythological past of the hero's journey and the mythology that George Lucas himself had created and why people connected with Star Wars.
I think that all of that is exactly true. And I think we actually have data to bear that out. Let's walk through it real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the numbers, we're going to go to a different sci-fi property, Project Hail Mary. Came out earlier this year. I loved it. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a phenomenal film. I think everybody, literally everybody, should see the film. I think it's just tremendous. Kudos to Andy Weir. Kudos to the guys that Kathleen couldn't stand and kicked out of Solo. If you know the story, you know. $675 million worldwide box office. It continues to climb. It may get to 700. Why? Because of the legs. When we talk about legs, we're talking about how much better the film does in comparison to the first weekend that it's released. And you can see here the legs for Project Hail Mary are 4.22. Now, we've seen better. Top Gun Maverick, for example, is far superior in terms of legs, but 4.22 is not bad. Well, what do we see when we go look at movies like The Last Jedi? Well, if we look at The Last Jedi, which I think was very unpopular, you can see a distinct drop-off. Yes, The Last Jedi made more than $1 billion, but it only has 2.82. If it had performed anything like The Force Awakens, which had 4x, then it would have been, it would have been right there with The Force Awakens. The drop-off began after the first weekend of The Last Jedi, and this franchise has never recovered since. If we go and look at The Force Awakens, you can see its legs were 3.78. Not as high as Project Hail Mary, but not bad either. And now we expect Mandalorian and Grogu to be all the way down at 2.25. And that means the people who still love Star Wars still go to see it, and then it collapses. And that's not a great place for it to be. So, panel, I turn back to any of you who'd like to weigh in on this. Did this franchise die at Last Jedi, or was there more to this? Is this a non-recoverable franchise so long as Last Jedi exists?
I don't know that people actively went out to sabotage it. I just think that they don't care. When they're insulted, when they're spat in the face, they just turn and walk away. If there was, I think that that's part of the spin that the media is trying to put on it. Like, they just love to hate it. Well, that's their narrative. That's their excuse for why it's doing bad. But, real people that don't like something, they just don't go see it.
Right. It's like if you've got
our job here is like, we have to go see this crap.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talk about it. And then they look at us and see, they just want to hate it. Well, no, it's actually the people just don't want to see it. They don't have the energy to hate it. They don't care about it enough to hate it,
Yeah. I love Star Wars. I really do. I don't like the current writers of Star Wars. I think they're talentless.
They're not at all.
Yeah, like they don't know. And I know a lot of the studios are using AI to help them write scripts, which really hurts me. And I really just kind of want to have like a seminar where I bring them all into a room and I'll be like, so this is how you write dialogue, and this is how you do character arcs, and this is how we do panel, and transitions and things like that. But I mean, look behind me right now. I have a Mandalorian fan art. I have a custom Mandalorian rifle that I made out of foam. Right. I cosplay as a Mandalorian. I love Mandalorian everything in Star Wars. Like, I know way too much about like this fictional history than I do about the US history. Right. And it's because I love it so much that when I see it and I see that it's done badly, like it upsets me. It's like watching a child do a math problem wrong. It's like, no, sweetheart. No, see, when you do that, you have to carry that number over and then you get the correct answer. And instead of like trying to help them, because fans did for a long time, they're kind of like, hey, we saw that you did this in the film. We just wanted to let you know that you got this wrong right here. And instead of being mature about it and being like, oh, we done boofed up, because business blindness does happen, right? It just, things slip through the cracks. It happened like everywhere at every level. But instead of acknowledging it, they were like, no, you're wrong and you are a bad thing. And now we're going to call you names until you stop talking. And it was like, I was literally just trying to help you.
Right. Well, it's toxic positivity, right? They won't allow any criticism to exist. Now,
Look,
go ahead.
People, if you think of all the great movies you've ever seen from the past, because presently there aren't that many, if they were about heroism, the people who wrote them and directed them knew heroes. If they were about love, they'd either personally been in love or seen it. These people today, they are in such a it's all about me world that they don't have any reference points in reality to understand concepts like love and a quest and a journey and heroism and self-sacrifice. So no wonder they can't write it. They have no clue about it. And that's the core problem. That's the core problem.
Lou, let me do a follow-up with you. So Dave Filoni in the hot seat. There are a lot of people wondering now what happens to Filoni. This movie is going to be a flop. We know that because Disney has declared it needs $600 million to break even. It will come nowhere close. Disney executive Rando said that in a THR article. So, Lou, I have a theory that if Starfighter also comes in low, that's it for Filoni. I think that Filoni was put in place by prior leadership. I don't see any reason that Disney execs, as they're currently constituted, would want to keep him around. They have to find somebody fast who can fix this thing.
Well, and like you say, it was the prior leadership, so they have no skin in the game. DeMauro didn't pick him, and so it's easier for him to dump him. It's not a reflection back on himself the way it would have been for Big Bob to dump Kathleen someplace along the line. So yeah, absolutely.
You think Ahsoka could go then?
Oh, yeah.
Not Ahsoka, but you think that Filoni could go?
Oh, hell yeah.
Pretty much the same thing when we say Filoni and Ahsoka. They're the same character.
Yeah, but I mean, look, diamonds are forever, but jobs in Hollywood aren't. And like we've seen, for example, these 1-year contract extensions given to people in these various universes and these which was, hey, once the merger goes through, we'll reconsider, but for now, we'll keep you for another year. And everybody complaining about that Barry Weiss isn't clearing house fast enough. It takes time. It takes time. The very first piece I ever did for you guys a couple of years ago was about lead time and about the fact that the stuff that's in the pipeline has to get worked through. Just like your digestive tract, there's a lot of crap in there that needs to get through before we get to the good stuff. And that's true with these people too, unfortunately. But
there is a tremendous comment out in the chat, and we need to put it up on the screen. And then anybody who wants to hop in, feel free to do so. Firestreak Rodimus says, the question you need to be asking and answering is, why did a Disney exec leak the 600 million number to THR? And this goes to the point I'm trying to make. I have talked about this previously, and especially on the Valiant Renegade show, about, isn't it interesting that suddenly an exec showed up to leak this? And the angle everybody is taking is, well, he probably shouldn't have said that. Probably should have held that close to the vest. And now I'm starting to wonder, did Disney foresee this was going to perform badly, and they want people to know it's a flop, to start that conversation for what happens next? I don't know. Andy?
Well, you had said this when earlier you said that Filoni was George Lucas' apprentice. Well, George Lucas doesn't like anyone who gives him pushback. So that means that Filoni, being the apprentice, was just a yes man. George would say something and he would nod, and that's just Filoni. So when Kennedy took over, she would say something, he would just nod and say, like, yes, have some. It's he doesn't have the ability to do the original ideas. He doesn't like, and you see his wife, who's the practicing witch, and all of a sudden we get space witches in Rebels. You get space witches in the Acolyte.
Everywhere.
There's people that just like pulls his strings and he dances for you. I think tomorrow will probably get to the point where he realizes that he needs somebody that's actually going to take some risks, that's actually going to steep themselves in the lore that the fans want. Because that's what you have to do, is you got to get the fans back first. If you get the fans back, the normies will follow. If you don't get the fans back, the normies won't follow. So you're going to have to get somebody like I've said, Sam Witwer will probably be your best bet, because the guy really knows his Star Wars. Even if you just put him as a creative consultant, where everything has got to kind of get an approval for him, ditch Pablo Hidalgo, send him off on his little mini tricycle and stuff, and get somebody in that actually loves it.
I think all that is true. I think Filoni's in the hot seat. I think Disney's ready to rip off the Band-Aid. Ultimately, this is a company, and it's also a company that this isn't the leadership that was in charge for, the 10 years that if they destroyed the sequel trilogy, they would have to admit, well, we failed. This is all new leadership. And I think Filoni either gets on board or he's overboard as well. I think that's the case. And, it's the only way I see it, because the market has spoken so loudly. So Filoni either fixes this or he's out. And I think, now that I think about it, that $600 million leak to THR only makes sense from Disney if they want people to start knowing, hey, Star Wars is flopping. They want people to know that. I don't know. But that's where I see it going.
But see, it's just like when we've talked about the stock price and about when are these big investment outfits finally going to wake up to what's going on? The answer is when their own credibility is at stake. The credibility of Disney or of Filoni or of Kathleen Kennedy or any of these people is their problem. The problem is the people who continue to back them after that goes away, suddenly it reflects on them. It comes back on them. And that's where Josh is right now.
Well said, Lou. All right, folks, it's up to you. Tell us in the comments. Tell us in the chat. Where do you think it's at for Dave Filoni? Is he in the hot seat indeed, or does he have more runway from Disney? We want to hear from you. Folks, when we say we want to hear from you, we mean it. And it's time to get these superstars up on the screen. Kayleoth for 5. Did they hire Bluey to train the Disney DEI HR staff for The View? Joy is already heating the oil. Lauren's mouth is watering. Is she chicken? Brian Locken for 10. Hello, Pro and all. It's now been 24 hours since I now saw Mando and Muppet. And I hate, with a strong H, hate this movie with a passion. That wasn't Star Wars. It was Muppets SNL Comedy Hour. It's a bizarre film, I would say. It's obviously, I think, very middling Mando episodes, 4 of them stuck together. And I just don't think it's worthy of being a movie. I give it a 5.5 out of 10. I think it's very meh. I think what is good from it is basically the fact that Favreau still knows how to direct a movie, even if he doesn't have a script. And what's amazing to me is, and I don't know if the panel knows this, Lauren was telling me that all the Grogu stuff, where it's puppeteering, where it's Grogu and the little, what are they called? Babu Fricks? Is that what their name? Those characters, all that was directed by Filoni. So when Filoni directs, it turns into, very childish kind of stuff. And I also think, too, that, after we saw Project Hail Mary and what the puppeteers were able to do with Rocky, who came across as a real character, not a puppet, then to see Baby Yoda and the Babu Fricks seem very much like doozers from Fraggle Rock. Losers at Lucasfilm on that one. We've got John for 5. Goal counter seems to be broken again. You betcha, but we're keeping track of the numbers. I'll call them out as soon as we get these super chats wrapped today. I'll tell you where we are before we go on our way to the next story. Jeremiah's out there for 5. Pro, why isn't Marvel putting out a good horror film for them to make money in October? DC is, and they're going to make money. I think, and Andy, maybe you want to weigh on this one. Blade in October would do just fine and dandy if you got it right. If you got Wesley, you're A-okay.
Yeah, but they still want to have Blade's daughter be the hero. Varro's right. She said they're not. Their ideology is unyielding. They're not going to backpedal it. They're trying to see how much of the poop they can mix into the coffee before people object. And it's like, and they don't get the idea.
I can tell you my limit is very low, Andy. I will object immediately. There, even a smidge of poo in the coffee is too much.
Is that decaffeinated poo or is it not? That's what I want to know.
Very dark roast,
latte
Andy.
Poo. It's like,
talking about a cup and a half of flavor, I tell you.
All right, continue with your puppuccino metaphor, Andy, please.
Well, they don't get that. Nobody wants any of it. Nobody. I mean, look, you took Sigourney Weaver, you took Ripley, and you made her make Zendaya look impressive with her range. Gary said this to me. It was like before I saw the movie. He said it was like Filoni was holding up her cue cards. They got her for one day, held up the cue cards, didn't even give her a script, and said, "Just read this." And she did. Took her paycheck and went home. Marvel can't do this because they don't have any idea what to do with the property. Once you got rid of that creative committee that what's his name put in place, Perlmutter put in place. Once you got rid of them, they had no idea what to do. If you had a healthy Marvel franchise, you could have a mainstream Marvel, you could have a mystical Marvel, you could have a cosmic Marvel, all the horror stuff that, and I think that Werewolf by Night thing came out so good because everybody was too busy looking elsewhere. They couldn't interfere with the production of it. That's why it came out well. But they can't get out of their own way. They're so busy looking to just not screw up. It's they're walking on eggshells, and that's why you can't get anything good.
We've got Sean Tower out there for 10. Everyone is failing about looking for explanations. Nerdrotic 3 years ago showed a picture of the writer's room when the force was female, not a single male writer, not one, and it shows writing. So, yes, to give you some details about that, that was the Lucasfilm Story Group, and they were very proud of the fact that they did not have a single man in the story group, and the story group at that time was led by Kiri Hart. Does anybody know where the former head of the Lucasfilm Story Group, Kiri Hart, went after she left Lucasfilm? Cue the Jeopardy music. She now works for Rian Johnson. So she left to go make Knives Out with him. Boy, they're just so much fun. Juliet for 5. Mando and Goku, UK, is 5.3 pounds, 5.3 million pounds, 3 day, 4 day, 6.4 million pounds, versus Solo, 7.6 million pounds on the 4 day. Yeah, it's the domestic over here where the media is trying to play with us. Too bad we're on it. We know what's up. We got Doge for 2. Gene Roddenberry would have TDS if still alive. Maybe. We've got John for 5. Scotty is like the violins playing on the Titanic. If only he could sing so well. The First Dragon Queen for 2. We are revenge mad. It's Revenge of the Fandom, right? They called you the Fandom Menace. They got the wrong movie. Detailed Devil for 199. Power to the Niners. A healthy biz matches both inflation and population growth.
Yeah.
Very true. KB Hugs for 499. Star Wars had a girl boss writer that could write Mandalorians. Karen Travis. Where's Lauren to back me up? Floponi has proven his... Oh, Floponi. Floponi has proven his ability to fail. Listen, Star Wars, although it's not a girl brand... right? Because it's not Barbie. Folks, we never deny Star Wars doesn't exist without a woman who made it what it is. Marsha Lucas saved the franchise. It doesn't exist without her. And guess what? In all those years of Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland and the Force is female, did you ever hear them celebrate her? Was she ever invited to their offices to commemorate what she did? Not a single time. And the reason why is, if she was allowed to be known, then everybody would know that Kathy was not the first woman of Star Wars. So out you go. John for 5. I think I paid $3.99 for Last Jedi on Amazon. That was the last time Disney made any money off of me. I walked away. Ken Smith for 10. I think if Disney could stop taking themselves so seriously and treat the sequels like George treated the holiday special, fans and public sentiment might soften, and they could maybe right the ship. Maybe. They tried that with... they tried being a little bit less serious with Mando, that's for sure. And it doesn't seem to have worked.
Yeah, the one thing they don't have even more than they don't have a sense of romance and a sense of adventure and a sense of the hero's journey and the rest, they don't have a sense of humor. So asking them to do something light and funny is really a bridge too far.
If they put out a B. Arthur action figure, it would outsell Ray.
I do think that if they had an episode of something where it turns out the sequel trilogy was all part of the holiday special, it was a TV show inside the holiday special. That would be the most meta way to bring the fans back. I'm not saying they should do it, but
Bobby Ewing in the shower or the Bob Newhart waking up sequence.
I like Bob Newhart, and the sequel trilogy was just the thing on the TV in front of the kid Ewok on the holiday special show. That's
somehow Harvey Korman returned.
We've got the Grand Inquisitor for 10. Disney Lucasfilm told fans like me we were too pale, male, and stale, and they didn't want us as fans anymore. So we left. Now, it's only the childless Funko Pop enjoyers left to support. Wait a minute, is that Star Wars or Satire Wars? You got me either way.
Satire Wars, yeah.
Delayed ribbon for 5. Filoni is set up to fail and will be a scapegoat KK can use to salvage her reputation since he was with Lucasfilm from before the purchase. I'll be honest, that might be the attempt. The Rey movie was an attempt to bring in Damon Lindelof, a close ally of J.J. Abrams, to fix the sequel trilogy. That didn't work. I don't think KK's reputation can be salvaged. I think that's over. I think even when the media is kind to her, they know. Like, the emperor has no clothes in this situation. Vera, does that feel right to you that even if people are polite to her, her reputation is gone?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, she has done so much damage, and I feel like nobody has any respect for her anymore. And so it's like, how many chances can you give somebody when she was already given 1 million?
Yeah, I think too, she's leaving Lucasfilm. Is anybody calling Kathleen Kennedy and say, oh, if we could just get you for a special project? Oh, if we could just. Her phone must be ringing nonstop. The Grand Inquisitor for 10. I used to read all the Star Wars books and bought the toys, especially Legos, when they came out in 99. Hallmark ornaments galore. Haven't spent a dime on anything since The Last Jedi. Told me to find out. I'm going to go with that one, right? They're finding out right now, Grand Inquisitor. Archer Merchant for 2. Shill starting the rumors again for Starfighter. Boy, already? Well, guys, wait till it's cold and dead before we move on, all right? Calm down. We need a second weekend first. Jeez Louise. I'm talking to media, not to you. Packing Protons for 5. Stop insulting the Doozers. They were real characters. I think you could sub in the Babu Fricks. I bet it's the same little. What do you call that? Gary? The steel and the plastic and all the stuff that's inside those puppets. The armatures. What do you call
armatures? Yeah.
Yeah, same design. Babu Fricks and Doozers. We can just swap them out.
I like the Doozers.
They're hardy little folks. Yeah. Fraggles eat their streets and highways. They just keep building, man. Keep going. We've got WJB Daily for 5. What has Disney touched and not destroyed? After Eisner, every purchase has missed like a weatherman's forecast. So Bob is really, really good at buying things at a good price. I'm going to give Bob Iger credit here. He bought Pixar.
A good price?
Well, maybe not a good price.
Fox?
But not Fox. You're right. I'm wrong. Pixar. He bought that one. Good idea. He got a hold of ESPN, probably a good idea. He got a hold of Marvel, really good idea. Got a hold of Star Wars, could have been a good idea. The problem is that once Bob buys something, all of these entities tend to be run by geniuses, and that's how they got where they are, right? It's the Pareto principle combined with the genius factor. And so the genius factor with let's take, for example, Pixar, is John Lasseter. The problem is you've got to realize if John Lasseter isn't at Pixar, then you have half of what Pixar was. And Bob Iger ran off the geniuses from inside these companies that he bought. So he gets 5 to 10 years of excellent product from these companies that he buys because of the legacy in which they exist. And then he imposes upon them his culture, his desires, his whims, and they die. Just like ABC News, which is where he's from.
The greatest line about this I ever heard was back when we of the Directors Guild went on strike for 20 minutes. And a guy named Lionel Chetwin wrote the speech that our president gave, and he had a great line. And what he said was, the problem that these big corporations like Cap Cities and Sony and the rest of them that were buying studios in those days, they don't understand that in the movie business, unlike other industries, the capital equipment goes home every night.
Right, right.
And so if you buy Pixar and you don't have Lasseter, you bought nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. You bought IP. Me, oh me. And by the way, it's the same idea of if back in the 90s you bought the Bulls and then you gave away Michael Jordan.
There you go.
You didn't really buy the Bulls. I mean, you kind of did, but you didn't buy the real Bulls. Orphan Zane for 2. Crya. Apathy is death. Did I say that right? Did I get that name right?
It's Craya.
Oh, man. Should be spelled Craya then. All right. Pro misses 1 this time. I'll get it the next. England EG for 2. Lou, they do have a sense of humor. Yo mama jokes. Oh, back to that movie again. George Peter Gatsis for 5. No one is going anywhere. The cost of production will dramatically decrease. Even if a movie fails by Hollywood standards, they will still make money. All right. Now, this is an interesting super chat because it's basing it, Lou, on AI. What George is arguing here is that the cost of... Yep. But I'm going to take I hear your cynicism on this,
well,
Lou,
the reason I say
skepticism.
it is there was a great line when Easy Rider became the biggest grossing movie ever and overtook Sound of Music. And Sound of Music cost $4.5 million, which was a lot in those days. And Easy Rider cost $950,000. And the question around town was, well, does this mean the major studios will now make movies for under $1 million? And the answer was no, because you can't steal $1 million out of $1 million. So
right.
It ain't the AI, it's the overhead.
There you go. And I'll tell you this too. The problem is that if the cost of production dramatically decreases, okay, which I think it will too. I'm with you on this. It only decreases dramatically for everybody outside of the unions. There are so many rules and regulations on those who are making their movies in the traditional way. They still have to pay in these huge fees that indies will not have to pay. And what that means is that they still have to make large money. And maybe AI can decrease it by 50%. Okay, fair enough. Let's go with that. Still, a guy in his basement very soon, maybe by the end of this year, can make something that looks like it came out of Hollywood. Will it be perfect? No, but give him a year or so. And then what do these movies have to go up against? They also have to go against every great writer in America as of yet undiscovered because they didn't want to play in the gatekeeping system that has been. And that makes the gatekeeping system a bunch of has-beens. Look out.
There you go.
Flex Honcho for 2. Will Gosling's fighter be named the Hail Mary? If they have any sense in their heads, they would do so right now. It's genius. If they can get the rights. Anyway, Super D-Man for 10. Who do you think will be fired first? Kevin Feige, with the most expensive film ever, or Dave, who has just taken over? Both franchises have been run into the ground. Filoni is the only one who can be fired. Feige would step aside or would go somewhere else. It would be a respectable way for him to go. They're not going to outright fire him. Filoni has no such, I think, hope. I think they would just fire him. You're gone. I don't know, panel. Do you get any other thoughts on that one?
No, I agree.
We've got John for 5. I thought Mad Max was the highest grossing, made for like $350,000. They bought a real biker gang with beer, basically.
I love that film. That was so good. All the way up to like the guy that was like in the suit where he couldn't see, and so he was like napping in like his frame between shots before he was just like, playing the guitar. Yeah, that was amazing.
Amazing indeed. All right, folks, we are at 18 out of 50 on the Super Chat Golometer. We appreciate every single person out there giving so kindly and keeping the lights on here in somewhere sunny USA. It's not so sunny, though, for one of our musical friends. Did you know that even though Michael is doing Gonzo at the box office, it turns out Springsteen may have been humiliated by the whole thing? We'll explain why on the other side. Well, it turns out that going ultra political might not be great for your entertainment career. Bruce Springsteen is one such guy. We'll explain why in just a minute. But first of all, you need to see from a concert, and we play this with some trepidation, but, well, you can't understand what we're talking about unless we do so. Bruce Springsteen needed a teleprompter to give him his NPC talking points attacking Elon Musk and Donald Trump in Boston. And this was on the 24th at the time of this recording 2 days ago. Here's Bruce. Here's what he did. And see the teleprompter there? You see those lines, those lights? Here's Bruce at a concert. Who wants to go listen to music and also MS Now?
That's happening now. The richest men in America have abandoned the world's poorest children to death and disease through the dismantling of U.S. aid. This is no longer on the front page, but children die every day, and this is happening now. We are undermining.
Did you hear the very light applause?
I was going to say the audience really loved that, didn't they?
Yay, just sing your songs.
Crickets. NATO and the world order that kept us safe and at global peace for 80 years. Our museums are being told to whitewash American history of any unpleasant or inconvenient facts like the full history of the brutality of slavery. You want to talk about snowflakes? We have a president who can't handle the truth.
All right, Boston likes that. Boston.
There's the other teleprompter, by the way, in the floor there. You see it?
Oh, yeah. He's looking down if he needs
We
to.
have a president who wants to create a $1.8 billion fund to compensate and reward people who attacked our capital, our democracy, assaulted our police officers on January.
I like the girl up here throwing up the fist. All right, folks, if you're wondering, is this a hit, though, with the market at large? Yeah, not so much. Trevor Denning writing this for That Park Place. Bruce Springsteen embarrassed by Michael box office domination. See the numbers. Folks, you might like the Michael movie, you might not. You may think that Michael did things, you might not. We're not going to weigh in on any of that during this video today. Just know that the Michael Jackson biopic presents him as a very strange guy with a pathological father, a pathological past that has left him damaged, and there's no doubt about that. Okay? And it's definitively not woke. Springsteen landed in 3,460 theaters. Did you know he had a movie made about him in 2025? You forgot about that already? Got a 61% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it debuted domestically with 8.9 million. 8.9 million. It started off in 4th place. In its second weekend, Springsteen dropped 58% and fell to 7th place. It ultimately finished up with $45.2 million. $45.2 million. Comparatively, Michael opened in almost 4,000 theaters. Critics absolutely hated it because it's everything they don't want. It's not woke. It does present him as damaged, but it also doesn't go into gratuitous displays of the stuff that you know that could happen in a Michael movie. And it opened in first place, 97.2 million, dropped only 44%, and currently is at 738 million worldwide, likely to pass the 800 mark, likely even, I would say, to get near 900. So,
and they're already making a sequel.
Exactly. So 738 compared to, again, if we go back up to, let's see, what do we got here? 12.9, 45. 45 compared to 738. Bruce Springsteen, going full-blown political, has done the same thing to himself that we've seen from so many other sources. He's wiped himself out, even as the critics applaud him, even as the few who go to attend his concerts cheer and rave. The market's gone. We see this over and over again. Carol, I'd like to go to you for first comments on this one. Carol, is this not just in parallel with everything we see? When you go political, you absolutely destroy your economic value. And when you stay away from politics, suddenly people are willing to go see what you have to say.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when I can't say like politics hasn't been part of entertainment because it's always been like at the B level in some ways.
Sure.
Some super popular songs that we have that stem from that. But I think what's happening is that when people want to go to a concert, right, and be entertained and just forget for like 3 hours that, they have to drive home to a shitty apartment and stuff like that. They don't want to be reminded of everything that they're, that they have to experience in the shitty apartment, right? They want to have like the music dopamine. They want to bob. They want to be part of the music and everything. And at this point, I feel like some people in entertainment are honestly being held hostage. It's like, you're going to do this on your stage or else kind of stuff. And, I feel for them in that situation. But at some point, the musicians, they're already going through a turbulent time with streaming platforms, so they're not doing albums the way that they used to. And then on top of that, AI music is starting to like boom because now people who can't find musicians who make the songs that they want are just making them themselves in less than 2 minutes. So,
right, and those are great points. But you know, when we look at Michael, there are reasons for that movie to not do so well, and yet it I mean, by a factor of like 10, 15 times more than Bruce Springsteen. And I think it's because when you make your brand be overtly political, I don't even think the people who agree with you politically enjoy you anymore. If that's all you are anymore, if you've gone to that level, people say, I'll go find, you know, I want to escape. This is my escapism. I don't want to just nonstop hate everything. And I think that's what has happened to Bruce Springsteen and so many others in Hollywood and entertainment.
Are you trying to tell me that the people who are out there protesting all day, when they go home, don't turn on the speeches of Joseph Stalin?
Oh, that's a great point, right?
They might.
Do the protesters get a break?
Yeah.
Well, a big thing here, right, is obviously, yeah, Michael is a piece of entertainment, and entertainment should say escapism. But with this Bruce Springsteen concert, it's literally called the Land of Hope and Dreams American Tour, and the slogan for it is literally "No Kings." It is a straight up political
it's
commentary, rally. It's supposed to be for the quote unquote celebration of American democracy and freedom, but all it really is an opportunity for him to push his activism.
Right. But then at the same time, and maybe he wants this, you know, I think Bruce is in his 70s. Maybe he doesn't care anymore. Maybe he's just happy to have what he has, and he feels this is worthy of not having the same kind of audience he once had. If we go back and look at that video, you'll see that the venue is not filled by any, you know, stretch of the imagination. And if you go look at the ticket prices he has, they're crazy. I've played this before. I want to play it again, and just because it's so amazing.
My favorite show.
Everyone's favorite show, but it's the guy in the middle that you need to know. It's Craig Ferguson. And we played this before. I have to play it again because I think this is what we're all starving for. Watch how Craig Ferguson deflects the ladies of The View as he talks about that when people go to see his show, they don't want politics. Because I think it actually stretches out to just about every person out there. I think he's on the money here, and I think this is what people are what we desire these days.
So Craig, your tour is called Pants on Fire. Is there a lot of material about Trump in it?
There's no material at all in it. It's basically me talking.
Pants on Fire?
Because what happens is, in my culture, we start telling stories. You tell a story once, and then the next time you tell it, maybe you add a little more, make it more interesting. Yeah. So if you're on a tour, a story that's true at the first part of the tour, the time you get 10 dates in, there's not a word of truth in the story. It's a pack of lies. So I figured if I just tell everyone I'm going to tell a pack of lies right away, then up front, everybody knows.
So there's no politics in your show?
I don't talk about politics at all. Well, the reason I have it is...
funny. Right.
Well, there's that. And also... The thing is, when you have a mustache, you have you know this.
I do.
You have a responsibility to be charming. And because, you know, you got to be charming if you have a mustache. So the reason why I don't talk, I'm sick of people that I agree with, never mind people I don't agree with. I'm just like, let's take an hour and a half, I'll go on stage, I'll tell you a bunch of jokes and do some stuff and tell some stories. And at the end of it, all the stuff that you're angry about is still there. You can have it back. I'm not taking it from you. But my job is just to, you know. And also, it was a choice that I made for myself, like a stylistic choice. Like, could I do it? Could I fill a whole show with no politics? And turns out I can.
Gary, as I watch this, I think about the fact that, you know, people like Bruce Springsteen told us that if the Orange Man came back into office, the world was going to end. And it didn't end. You know, it just didn't. Whatever people think about it, it didn't happen. And I think about the fact, too, that these people, they say no kings. And then the King of England comes to the United States and they say nothing because it's not really about kings. They're totally phony, Gary. And so when we see the effect on Bruce Springsteen, where he's outplayed by 15 times over by the Michael Jackson movie, what I take away from that is, you know, the diehards, they've made bigger fans inside their cults. But they've diminished themselves on the market because people don't believe them anymore, and they're not influential anymore outside of the few who really love their stuff.
by the way, I just asked because you can, what's Bruce Springsteen worth? You want to take a wild guess?
Oh, I wouldn't even make a guess on that one.
His net worth is estimated at 1.1 billion with a B to 1.2 billion with a B.
It's good to be the boss.
Let's just say he's doing better than Mandalorian and Grogu.
Gary, he's in the 1%, but he doesn't want to be perceived to be part of the 1%. What are your thoughts on celebrities who do this?
Well, these celebrities and the normal, the usual suspect protesters have something in common. They're all either told or being paid to do this kind of crap. That's my belief at this point. I see it. I live in California. It's the central hub of this garbage. I see it every week, every weekend. It's like they don't even know what their real talking points are, and you can see that in the way that they in the subtext of what they're saying. But they don't quite understand what I don't even know what Springsteen's talking about in that little speech. I don't think he does either.
Right.
He's just reading it with conviction.
We're in the apocalypse, according to these people, but nobody, you walk outside and you say, I don't think I'm in the apocalypse. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gary,
the funny part is he had somebody write it for him.
Yeah.
He basically said, well, look, I don't want to sound stupid up there, so write me something good that I can read. And oops, oops, oops.
So Gary, I believe you're the only panelist still in California. What is it like right now in terms of, because we've seen, I guess, the politics starting to shift a little bit in California, maybe not totally, but I think after the wildfires and all this kind of stuff, maybe the Bruce Springsteen kind of politicization is not as popular even in California anymore. Do you have a sense of that, or has it changed?
My honest sense of California, I'm going to try to sum it up quickly here because I could go on about it forever. But from everything I've experienced, which I deal with municipalities, cities, counties, state government, it is 100% corrupt. Not joking, not exaggerating. Everything I deal with on a
at every level
basis has to do with this kind of political takeover.
Yeah.
I believe that people in California a lot of them are centrists, at least. I mean, a lot of them are very practical people, but the decent ones are gone. That is the truth.
Yeah.
It's not just hype. It's not just it's nothing's really exaggerated about California. This place is straight up corrupt, and it's becoming very difficult to live here, even to walk down the street. I can't tell you how many times my friends and I have been assaulted just down the street from my little hometown.
It's been said to me the only thing keeping California afloat right now is Silicon Valley. And I'm worried. I don't know how much longer that's going to go. But the politicization destroys a state. It also destroys the careers of these entertainers, right?
Definitely. When I hear people like Bruce Springsteen talk about this kind of crap that he's preaching about, like, he has no idea about any of those problems, even if they were real.
Right, because he doesn't live with.
He doesn't have any idea what the experience of those real problems. Yeah,
I totally agree with you, and I think that's why people can't relate, and I think that's why people can't relate to The View. The View's numbers are terrible. They are tripled by The Price is Right every day.
I love watching rich women talk about how hard it is to be a woman in America. It's just so hard. Like, just take your $100 bill and just dab your tear a little bit more. I can't
come on.
wait.
Caro, Whoopi Goldberg didn't get the cupcake she wanted, and she doxed the cupcake maker on the show, and you're telling me that you think she might have been in the wrong. Listen, the woman is a saint. She played a nun.
She could, maybe she's just a little sensitive that day. She just not feeling it. And
even rich women.
And went all the way to make up the narratives that the baker didn't like her because of her race. That was.
The story. I love it.
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah.
Even rich women need a cupcake. All right,
That's
Andy.
the title of your next book, I'm sure.
Even rich women need a cupcake.
I'm gonna write that down.
That would sell at the Barnes and Noble. It would do it.
The only thing I could really say is I am unfortunately in Boston, and Massachusetts is terrible. Massachusetts and Boston are super corrupt, just like California. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous ridiculous what is going on here. But I mean, you see who's doing concerts here, and really it's just like a rally for Bruce Springsteen. But yeah, I mean, Healy
But
and
you got
Wu
Donnie
were-
Wahlberg now, so
Oh,
it's not
gee
all bad.
whiz, that's great.
Vera, we're watching as an exodus happens in California, like a for real exodus. In fact, if you take away undocumented immigration, illegal immigration, if you take that away, there's a population decline in California. Are you sensing the same thing in the Boston area?
Boston
No?
is bad. Boston is absolutely terrible, and it is not going to be changing anytime soon. That
Well, just like
is
Silicon Valley, the thing I've heard saves Boston is Harvard, right? I mean, that's really where the money flows now, I suppose. But it's a shame to watch all these places with such, wonderful pasts and such, what would you say? They have so much capacity to just win and win and win. They have all the institutional power. They have all the opportunity in the world, and they're being destroyed by the woke mind virus. Same thing with entertainment.
Yeah, and but Boston has seen a little bit of an exodus, and Massachusetts has seen like a tiny bit of an exodus. They're going to like New Hampshire. Of course, there's a lot of people across the country that are going to places like Florida, but I don't see Massachusetts fundamentally changing when it comes to who is, of course, like in power and the BS that they're pulling. But yeah, I mean, we have some of the best, medical institutions in the world here, and some of the best schools in the world here, and I don't see all of these people magically just up and leaving anytime soon. It's happened a tiny bit, but yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's
I
rough.
escaped my second generation native LA 8 years ago. And I haven't looked back. And, even Pro said, "Do you want to go back sometime? We'll go, and we'll go to all the places you used to like." And I don't want to go. I just don't want to go back. I mean, not even
Right.
for a day, not even for Disneyland, not even,
And it's hard to ruin California. Like, it's really, really hard to ruin California. It's sunny all the time. It's 75 degrees. Like, what in the world? How did you do that? Well, not all the parts, folks. Don't go to the deserts and claim ProSed. But
it's a dry heat. In the
It's a
desert,
dry
it's a dry heat.
That's right. That's right. Andy, the places people are going now seem to be, and this is parallel in the real world and entertainment as well. In the real world, people and their companies are leaving. They're going to Austin. They're going to Texas. They're going to Dallas-Fort Worth. They're going to Florida. They're going to Tennessee. They're going to Nevada. And Andy, in the same way in entertainment, people are going away from franchises like Star Wars. They're going away from musicians like Bruce Springsteen, and they're going to Project Hail Mary, and they're going to watch non-woke biopics about Michael. Back on the top 100, all over. Michael Jackson movie, all over the top 100 now.
I live here in Bruce Springsteen's home state of New Jersey. Bruce Springsteen, is there anything that you see when you look at Bruce Springsteen that screams cowboy? Yet he owns a horse ranch in New Jersey, which allows him to take advantage of this farm credit subsidy that reduces his taxes. And if you have enough money, you can do that. And what offends me the most about Bruce Springsteen is here's a guy who achieved the American dream by making songs about how the American dream is impossible to attain.
Exactly. This is very similar to the rap musicians who will sing about all the kinds of things that would end them, and they teach it to 13 and 14-year-old boys. They indoctrinate them into that. And maybe that was their past life, but it's probably not anymore. Andy, you're exactly right.
Well, that's why New Jersey's got they're either second or third continuously on the exodus out. I think the only reason that New Jersey has had a brief respite of people leaving the state more so than moving into it is because people from New York have moved into New Jersey to get away from New York. So the poison's worse up there, and it's slightly better in New Jersey, up in North Jersey. But everybody here just keeps leaving because and they're going to greener pastures. You see why my in-laws have a house down in Florida, and the traffic that they're experiencing now because everybody moving to Florida is insane. The traffic has doubled. Places like North Carolina, Tennessee, all these states are seeing massive upticks because people are fleeing this stuff. Normal common sense people, do you think it's easy to leave your home? I think it's easy to pack up everything you've always known.
It is not easy at all.
It's not. I say that as a military brat where I had to move every 4 years.
My family has been in this city in California since before it was a state of the United States.
Wow.
And now I'm leaving.
It's a hard thing.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing. It's a sad thing. And so, when we look at franchises that have been destroyed, when we look at, entire entertainment genres that have been destroyed, when we look at states that are being destroyed, we don't take joy in that. That's one of the things the detractors don't understand. We're not happy about that. We've been warning about that, right? It's like diagnosing a patient. We're not gleeful as the patient dies. We wanted them to take the medicine like years ago. And it's not too late. It's not too late for any of these entities, but the corruption has to go from all of them.
Well, it's not too late for them, maybe, but it was too late for me. I've told this before, but Gary, when we drove across the border for the last time heading here from LA, I said, California gave me some of the best years of its life, and I gave it some of the best years of my life, but I still have some best years left. California, not so much.
No.
Not in my lifetime. And I'm 73 for the record. So
I don't know when the last time you were in Los Angeles, but I was there in December, and it was atrocious.
You talking about driving by the camps and that sort of thing?
Everything. Yeah, I drove all the way through from Santa Clarita to Anaheim. It was a war zone.
Santa Clarita, my old neighborhood.
Yeah.
One of.
I know when I lived in Arizona, because I was there for 15 years, we started having a mass exodus from people from California moving into the Phoenix area where I was. And one of the things I thought was interesting is that they moved away because it was a better place for them to live, compared to California. But then one of the very first things they started to do was they were like, oh, I don't like this law, so I'm going to vote against it. Naturally, one of them was a firearm law, right? And so, the longer they were there, they were basically transforming the place that they fled to be exactly like the place that they had left. And I was like, why did you go back? If you miss it so much, go back and leave us alone.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
And everybody worries about that. I have relatives all over the South, and in my experience, the people that get out are the ones who aren't going to do that. At least the ones that come here. I was shocked. We moved here all this way, and the kid from Geek Squad who installed my television sets had lived in Pacoima, right down the road from me, where I was in Sylmar when we left. So, and it's also interesting how many people from Chicago are here in Tennessee. So I don't know why that is, but I've run into more people that moved here from the Chicago area than any place else. So
the latest data over the past 4 years seems to show that it's about a 70-30 split. So 70% of the people who leave from the states that are very blue right now, they leave to states with the understanding they want to be part of that state and the culture of that state. 30% want to bring the state that they're leaving with them. So as of right now, it seems to be a population change that will keep the cultures intact of those states. But we shall see over time, especially if the possibility of the exodus grows. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got about 1,200 of you out there joining us, the highest, the brightest, the smartest, the best looking, and best smelling. Every one of you appreciated, seen, and smelled? No! Well, let's go to the super chats. Sean Tower for 5. Watch an old fart charging $160 a ticket to listen to verbal diarrhea. Springsteen had to cancel many concerts due to lack of sales. That is exactly right. I didn't bring that up. I should have. And the ticket sales have not been good. The ticket prices are also insane.
Tell the truth, Pro. Did you make that thing about smelling good because you knew the first chat had fart and something else in it?
Hey, just let the brain flow sometimes.
I tell you, aromatherapy, that's what people come here for.
Smell-o-vision. Hey, after I saw Disney start selling $80 Bath and Body Works Grogu stuff, I'm getting in soon, okay?
Which is a weird thing to do because that's like a lady place. So it's like, let's take the male nerd thing and put it in the lady place.
You got to find your ad partners where you can find them, Caro. Desperation is a strange thing.
I want to talk to the people who did this focus group, and I want to be like, let's talk. Let's really talk. Because you know what? Nobody wants any of what you're selling. Okay.
That's right. England for 2, global peace for 80 years. The heck? Yeah, Bruce Bruce didn't have the TV on when that plane left Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Spring Bear for 2. Any bet Springsteen will use pronouns on his concerts? What is this? Forza Horizons? What are you doing? We got Daniel Alpine for $4.99. What would it take for a person as me to rise in the ranks at Disney to eventually become the next CEO and fix the company?
Go to Vegas and put another $4.99 on black, and you got a better chance.
That's all I got for you, Daniel. If you want to be the CEO of Disney, you got a hard road. It's a hard road. John for $5. Remember the Dixie Chicks? Yeah, politics is great for musicians. It can sit below the surface, but when it becomes overt, that's when you're in a different demographic and it's not large. Detail Devil for $1.99, pronounced biopic. Biopic? Oh, biopic. Oh, you want me to say biopic?
I've been telling you this for weeks now, but
well, listen, anyway. I've heard different people say biopic or biopic, and I just decided
you're pronouncing it like a fucking bionicle, okay?
Fine,
we
I'll
can
switch to
rebuild
biopic.
it. We can make it stronger, faster, better.
yeah.
The Bionic Man. Oh, there we go.
Is that culture?
Look at there. It is.
Yeah, that's culture.
I like biopic.
Wow.
It sounds like eyewear. Anyway. Wait, that's what it says in the super chat. Detailed Devil, you got me.
Sounds like eyewear for somebody of indeterminate sexuality, perhaps.
Oh, my.
But
biopic it is then, with haste. Doge Pal for $2. Aaron Carter or A. Carter, hello. You never know. It might be Aaron. John for $5. I'm still amazed that Craig survived late night as long as he did. The way he effortlessly flirted with so many beautiful guests. Today, he would be canceled.
And those beautiful guests came on that show knowing that was going to happen.
It was the shtick.
Perfectly okay with it.
Well, it was probably rehearsed, right, Lou?
Well, sure. Well, to some degree, yes.
Yeah. So, but most of your shows that you enjoy and still watch
they all
could
came
not.
on wearing dungarees and no makeup, right?
Yeah, sure they did. But you couldn't do The Office today. You can't do Friends today. You can't do Everybody Loves Raymond today. These shows can't exist today. They would never be allowed on TV.
Well, of course, Blazing Saddles is the ultimate example. But
yes, that's true.
Well, what's really funny is people are still gathering towards like Friends and everything else. Like they're going back to the old sitcoms. I don't know if you've seen that.
Easily outweighs everything that's on right now. And that it's true in music as well, right? People are listening to Michael Jackson, listening to the Beatles. They're listening to, all kinds of classic songs. And the new stuff, I mean, maybe they'll listen to Sabrina Carpenter every once in a while, but, it's not taking off. John for $5. I'm still amazed that Craig. Oh, wait, we already got that one. Thank you, John. Going to England DG for $2. I mean, his initials are BS. What did you expect? Written in the cosmos. DL Racer for $20. Here's a question I haven't heard anyone discuss. What do you think the chances are that a certain George has been funding the political perversion within Hollywood storytelling? Lucas would never. Oh, you mean another George? Oh, that George. Okay. Well, let's approach it in an odd way. We'll approach that from a different angle than anticipated. What did we find out in the gaming industry that is 14 times larger than the box office? Gaming is 14 times larger. What do we find out when we look at games like Concord? What do we find out when we look at games like Dustborn? Well, whatever this new game is where the girl at the end wants to burn down cabins and her police officer dad has to accept that, and that's the way the game ends, right? Mixtape, is that the name of it?
Yeah, that's Mixtape, unfortunately.
What have we found out every time we look at the funding? They're being funded by governments, by the EU, by Norway.
Billionaires.
Yep, sometimes that too. So Soros, maybe.
Ellison's daughter's behind Mixtape, so.
Yeah, and isn't that funny too, how the Ellisons are a moderate family, but sometimes, even like with Disney, you get it crazy. Abigail, we're talking to you. So, and then they go out and they spend all that legacy money on making the world an uglier place. Kaylee Olive for $5. Exodus is in progress out of Massachusetts also. It's been in progress for 5 years, spent with nearly every town trying to pass property taxes over rides. It's crazy here.
Yeah, and I mean the mass exodus that exists has turned states like New Hampshire, for example. New Hampshire's purple now because of it.
Yep.
It's really
and was the only New England state reliably red.
Yep,
I forget. Is that I forget which New England state it is. Where with the guy with the tattoo? Which state is he running from? Maine or New Hampshire? I forget. Plattner.
Oh,
it's Maine.
In Maine,
I was going to say, I think it's Maine.
But just the idea that person could be viable with anybody just is astounding.
Well, I mean, they burned down an area in Los Angeles the size of the city of Paris, and nobody suffered for it. Nobody in power was held accountable except for the firefighter lady who had no water. So what was she going to do? And she was fired because she got caught criticizing said politician. So
yeah, well, not yet. We'll see what happens.
She came with receipts, man. She was just like to put the folder on there, and she's like, "Let's start with Exhibit A."
No water, Exhibit B. No water, Exhibit C. No water. John for 5. Isn't Boston where that hospital got busted on a recorded phone call saying they would give a particular type of surgery to a minor?
I mean, I feel like we unfortunately hear about stories like this too often.
Well, everybody's got a camera and everybody's got a microphone. And so if it happens, we're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
You saw what happened during the college baseball game on ESPN the other day.
No, what?
Oh, I don't even know if I can repeat it. It's so somebody in the audience, in the crowd, went to one of those microphones they set up to pick up the crowd noise and said something rather salacious.
Colorful? Okay.
Yes, and it went out over the air.
Oh, boy. We've got England DG for 2 out there. 1984 was born in the USA. 2026 has switched to sucks. No fun, eh? England DG for 2. As a Southerner, the South is full. Thank you. We've got England DG for 2. Caro is 100% right. Leave your politics behind, lest you become a behind. John for 5. Caro, that's why bumper stickers that say, "Don't California my Texas" exist. And I'm not even from either, but I know about it. We've got Packing Protons for 2. South Jersey is Trump territory. Move here, Andy.
I am in South Jersey. I'm right across from Philly, so.
There you go.
Packing Protons for 5. We need a box set of Craig's Late Show. He left at the right time. He does talk a tad a bit about politics, but just quick jokes for the mega crowd. Thank you, Packing. Chef Eddie for 5. It's biopic. And you just can't assume the picture's sexual preference. You can't just assume the picture's sexual preference. Okay, we'll go with it. Fine. We got Detailed Devil for 499. California not lost cause, but few enclaves of sanity under attack. My suburb once faced bankruptcy, but by grace of God, got ex-Army Sarge to fix it. Safe and clean for now. Well, kudos on the turnaround. Mike Gammon for 5. Dave, the new Joss Whedon Filoni. Coming to a company near you.
I like your Jane hat, by the way.
Well, that was nice. Hang on a second.
See?
It's a nice one. We've got John for 5. George Takei would never. How dare you? He's just a swashbuckling helmsman.
Yeah.
Does he go as he now? I'm not sure. Defcon Prime for 2. Who is Sabrina Carpenter? Looks like Lily Phillips.
You know, Vash and I have a running joke about Sabrina Carpenter. We call her Tyrannosaurus arms because if you look at her, her arms are so tiny compared to the rest of her. Not that she's large anyway, but take a good look and you'll never see her the same way again.
I'm going to assign somebody to that investigation. We will find out. Proportion of the arms to the rest of Sabrina. England AG for 2. My best game of the year is Pragmata. My wife loved it.
It was a really, really great game. I also recently played Lego Batman. That's going on my Game of the Year contender list with all the references to the different comics and movies, scenes completely recreated. It was really good too.
Awesome, awesome. I know Marv is really enjoying playing it on that game place. Christian Corralejo for 5. Does politics negatively affecting entertainers go both ways? For example, how was Nicki Minaj's music career affected when she openly supported Trump? Now, that is an interesting question, and I'm going to tell you this. If your brand previously was not associated with it, I actually think that it does damage you to dive in the opposite direction as well. I think the person who seems to handle this the best is Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt does a very, very good job of, we all know that Chris Pratt is probably of a certain persuasion. He has said in the past that he really admires RFK Jr., who's in his family, right, and what he's doing. But he's careful not to go so far as to make himself be perceived as completely political, even despite the media trying to bait him in over and over. And there was that time when they wanted to do so with his church.
And
so he's done a really good job.
Father-in-law is, for goodness sakes.
Right. So I think he's done a very good job of it. If you want to see the best in the biz, though, Dolly Parton is the best in the biz at this.
Oh, she's so classy. She's so classy.
So even
Keira
to the point,
Knightley is too. I really like Keira Knightley's response to
that's a
some of
great
that
point.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. We've got Joppy out there for 100 crowns. Joppy, it's always good to see you, buddy. Jobby says, I've got a pretty big topic to cover, so I'm just checking again. How many hours from now is the next member panel? Jobby, tonight we're going to have a member exclusive time. No, I'm sorry, not tonight. Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night when we do the face reveal, we're going to have member exclusive time. That's the 27th. And I'm going to say, Jobby, how many hours? Well, I don't know how to count that. Let's see, 24. Jobby, I'm going to say 35 hours from now. I hope I got that right. 35 hours from now. Thank you, Jobby. Peggy Protons for 2. Good Jer pronounced. Hang on. Lou, help me with this. What do we say here?
I have no clue. Guido Gidio.
There you go. Now you can all blame Lou. It won't be on me this time. Chris Dickerson for 5. Burn the land and boil the sea. You can't take the sky from me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got one more topic with our good friend Gary Ambrosia, and so we're going to make the most of it. Gary, may we step outside the typical lane that we cover here with you? Would you enjoy, I don't know, talking about not Hollywood, not gaming, not Disney, not Star Wars, but pizza, Gary? Would you talk about pizza with us?
Oh, yeah. I don't ever want to talk about any of those other things. Let's just do a show on pizza.
Pizza, here we go. The whole world has a craving, and it may be for pizza, but even more so, it may be for going back to the good old days. And that's what's happening with Pizza Hut. Folks, did you see what happened to Cracker Barrel? Have you seen how they destroyed their stock, destroyed their company by trying to make it modern and sterile and, well, nowhere that anybody wants to go? A blasé, Cracker Barrel blasé. Have you seen how that's going with the other companies out there that do the same thing? Or maybe even go woke like Jaguar did or Bud Light? Well, it turns out Pizza Hut is taking the opposite approach, and suddenly folks just want to have pizza again. I think there's a broader topic to be talked about here, even in entertainment. Let's go there. This is out of cbc.ca, and it says the Pizza Huts from your childhood are making a comeback. Here's why nostalgia sells. And I'm going to tell you, folks, I don't think this is actually nostalgia. 155 locations in the U.S. are retro now, with more joining them rapidly. Natalie Stetchison is writing this one. It says, it was once a sacred place, ushering you inside with its signature red roof and comforting smell of bubbling cheese. In a special era now lovingly known as the 90s, and I would add 80s too. In its prime, Pizza Hut wasn't just a restaurant chain. It was an experience. The stained glass lamps, red booths and red cups, the fully loaded salad bar, the Pac-Man machines to keep you entertained while you waited for your personal pan pizza. For me, it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And yes, Rocksteady eats lots of quarters. It was perfect, says one of many TikTok videos of the experience. Felt like home, says another nostalgic video. Now, one of the largest franchisees in the U.S. is bringing Pizza Hut back to its retro glory days by revamping dozens of its locations, part of a larger overall push towards classic Pizza Huts. It says the sales have been falling in the crowded pizza market, but the change evidently is popular. The classic locations are some of the chain's top performers. Customers reportedly driving hours just to sit down and eat. They've been positively received in the communities where we've converted them, said Tim Sparks, president of the Kansas-based franchisee, which oversees 94 Pizza Hut locations across the U.S., though none in Canada. You can see right there the way that they go back and they look at the Pizza Huts. And folks, this is now making the news everywhere. CBS covering this, and we'll play this. CBS, please don't get us for this. We're trying to help you, help us help you, okay? CBS 19.
Familiar red roof catches the eye. Inside the vinyl booths, Tiffany-style lamps, and yes, the salad bar you may remember from decades ago.
I mean, it's amazing the comments we have about they have the red cups. Yeah, yes, we do.
Tim Sparks got his start working at a Pizza Hut that looked like this. He's now president of Dayland Corporation, which owns this franchise and more than 80 others around the country.
All right, I think we've got the idea. In an age where many of the companies are trying to race to destroy their past, kill it if you have to. You get the idea. Pizza Hut is doing the opposite. And Panel, I don't think it's nostalgia. Gary, I actually think that things were better in some ways in the past. Now, technology is not the same, but I'm saying like Pizza Hut, I think it was a better delivery. I think there's something to the iconography. And I think there's something to an arcade machine sitting there for kids to go play while they wait for their pizza to be made. Like, I think this stuff actually has an appeal that's not just member berries. And I think that if companies want to succeed, they've got to stop the brutalist, modern, sterile kind of creations that they've made out of these things and go back to being special. And I think it's true, Gary, of not just restaurants, but entertainment. I think it's true of comics, of superheroes, of sci-fi, like everything. Gary, are you hopeful as we watch this happen? You know, it's a tale of two restaurants, Cracker Barrel destroyed, Pizza Hut being revivified. What say you, Gary?
Yeah, I'm really hopeful because this is like you're saying, this is a universal model that can be applied to not only a restaurant, but to movies, television, theme parks. And, you know, this is a prime example of a company listening to people speaking on social media, which if you look anywhere, really, they're always posting pictures of, remember when Pizza Hut was great? Remember the red cups? Remember this and that? Well, they're responding to that. And that's how you do it. Right there.
Well,
and
you know,
I'll always remember my birthday, you know, at Pizza Hut. You know, I would be waiting for my pizza and I'd go, you know, put a bunch of quarters in Operation Wolf. That was like one of the greatest times of my young life. You know, I think it's fantastic.
Of course, we saw in that picture, they still have flat screen TVs on the walls, which they didn't have back in the day.
Right. I don't think a jukebox is going to return.
No, but it's a question of this. The more people have big screen TVs at home and are watching all these movies we talk about on streaming, the more they're ordering pizza delivered. This whole idea is to get people actually physically into the restaurant to dine. And that's what's, in theory, making a comeback if it's doing it at all, if it's working.
I think for me, a problem, right, is like I think that this idea is so great, but if the recipes aren't the same and they're
There
not
you
like
go.
going back to the food that people remember, then I don't really know if this is going to be able to, you know, stay relevant for very long. Like I think that it's just going to be a phase and that, oh my gosh, I'm going because it opened up near me, and then you go once and then after that it's like, well, I could just not go again because it's still not exactly the same.
Right.
Well, plus with Cracker Barrel, the food degenerated long before the whole rebranding look thing happened. And I don't know that they fixed that part yet. So we'll see.
Part of the problem with the food thing is it's very difficult to unwind this, because if we go back to the 80s and the 90s, there were a great number of companies that produced the food that these large then restaurants would purchase from. And today, my understanding, if Culture were here, he'd go on like a 20-minute explanation of this. But my understanding is there's, 4 or 5 companies that basically produce almost all of the food that we consume when we go out to eat.
Certainly, pizza cheese is a monopoly of about 2 or 3 companies in the whole country.
Right.
No matter what brand, whether it's take home frozen or eat out at a restaurant, it's all coming from the same place. So,
which is why if you go places and say, why does the food all taste the same? Like why does this pizza place taste just like this pizza place now? It's because all the ingredients are coming from the same places. So you're exactly right, Vera. And how they fix that, I'm not completely sure. Your higher end restaurants, of course, they work around that because they deal with local growers and producers. But Pizza Hut, I think, at least in the iconography part of this, I think this is great. I think that we need to differentiate. And I think that we need to get away from ugly and bland. And it's okay. It may be even a little tacky, right? Pizza Hut might be just a little bit, it's not the place for luxury. It's just not. And perhaps that's what people want. Perhaps people want different.
One of these red roofed Pizza Hut buildings became, I think it was the city hall for the city of Palm Desert out near Palm Springs. And you drive by and say, wait a minute, that's not a Pizza Hut. And they had the sign out. And now I guess it's something else. But so they've been repurposed in a few places. And again, this guy is an existing franchisee redoing them rather than opening new locations. So see, that almost looks like it could have been like a Shakey's or a Denny's or an anything, but they just put the red roof on top.
Well, this one has the modern logo, and who cares? But the thing is, I wonder now, are the other fast food restaurants going to consider this? And I think, like Taco Bell definitely looked differently in the 80s, right? And I don't know if they're going to go back to that kind of stuff. Will they be inspired by Pizza Hut? I don't know.
I think so. I think because a Taco Bell is still doing so well today, they wouldn't, whereas Pizza Hut has definitely waned in popularity, and I think that they were looking for some sort of way to just boost sales.
Well, interesting you should mention Taco Bell because, of course, KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell are all under the rubric of Yum Brands, which was the
Right.
spinoff from Pepsi that used to own it. So there you go. And in fact, I remember when I was covering restaurants a million years ago, Coke and Pepsi were fighting for independent restaurants business. And Coke would say, well, we're the ones with the real thing. And Pepsi is in competition with you because they own KFC and Pizza Hut, and they're getting your customers to go there. It was a big war. But this guy, again, is a franchisee, but the overall company is owned by Yum Brands, which is Taco Bell and KFC.
Well, as I think about the things that I'd like to see make a return, I don't know that I would, and this is the problem with it, right? This is what Vera is saying. Maybe I would only drink this beverage once and then say, well, that's enough of that. But I think back in the past of all the drinks that are gone now, or all the places that are gone now that you used to go to, and like give me a Surge soda, for example. I'll drink one of those. It's basically diabetes in a can, but I'd go for a Surge one more time. I'd do it one more time. Panel, what are some things you'd like to see make a return? If we're going to bring stuff back, what should come back?
I'd like the food to taste like actual food and not like all this artificialness. Because, like Vera was saying earlier, unless they fix the recipes, I can't justify leaving my comfortable house to come and sit here and just eat the same like trash that they've been making the last few years. Because there's a Pizza Hut that's right down the road, and my husband and I gave it a shot, and it was bad. It was like really bad, and I don't get heartburn, and it immediately gave me heartburn. So whatever they're putting in their stuff, it's not good.
So what you're saying is you want Coca-Cola to bring back Fruitopia drinks as fast as possible.
Yes, I want it to bring back, good taste and a
that's the
great
opposite.
experience. I want a good experience. That's what I want, because this is member berries is nice. Better food is good. Like they're fighting us wanting to leave our homes when it's very convenient for food to come to us right now. Like that's
okay. Well, that's a great
battle.
Let me follow that up with you then, Caro. DoorDash is something that really didn't exist back then. It's it's prevalent now. And there are more ways to just stay at home than ever before, but that might actually not be good for us as a society. In fact, I would suspect it's really not. I think we actually need to be around strangers.
And the weirdest stuff is on DoorDash. The snack stands at the AMC movie theaters in this town will deliver through DoorDash. Like what I really want is a hot dog that's been spinning on that thing for the last 3 years,
And charged at quadruple the appropriate price.
Wait, the weirdest one, Pro, a bridal shop chain is delivering through DoorDash. It's like you can do on DoorDash, they have this thing that they call Double Dash, where they don't charge you the service fee if you have 2 orders on one thing. So it's like, yeah, order me a pizza, and while you're at it, get me a corsage. Right. I don't get that at all. But I guess if you're urgently in need of something from the bridal store.
Carol, what do you think about the idea that the Pizza Hut redo might have more to do with, everybody's at home? They're door dashing, they're using Amazon, they're not going to stores, they're not going to restaurants. And maybe this calls back to a time when we actually drove somewhere and went somewhere and saw other people we didn't know before. And maybe people miss that.
Yeah, you can find people that will want to go and sit in places. Like there's a coffee place down the road from me, and people go and sit and talk in there all the time. And
No way.
Yeah, they do. It's actually like I have to stand in line to get my coffee. It's quite impressive. But I don't really see that with restaurants like Pizza Hut. Most of it has to do with the interior decoration, because one of the things that they taught me when I was going through hospitality is that the way that they design the interior is either to have you stay and linger or to eat and get out. And so anytime you see a place that has reds, yellows, pretty much McDonald's colors, they want you to eat and they want you to get out.
Yeah. And Chock full of Nuts in New York City was famous for having intentionally uncomfortable chairs because they didn't want people lingering. They wanted the turnover.
Mm-hmm.
So what colors should I go with if I want people to linger and stay?
Earth colors.
Earth colors.
The
Calming.
stuff that they do with Starbucks. Yeah.
Okay. See, I always thought red and yellow were used at some restaurants because they are the colors of so much, the things that we eat. And that's why so few restaurants are colored blue or purple, is because there aren't that many, edible
Except
items
for the
that are
blue
that color.
shrimp. Let's not forget the blue shrimp.
Yeah.
But,
they do so they did like this study about colors and how people respond to them if they're in a room with them. And they found that the people who sit in rooms with bright colors, so the reds, the yellows, the whites, and all that, were more likely to leave or find a reason to leave than the people who were in rooms with cool colors or earth colors.
And a lot of those studies, by the way, were done by the government as to, for example, what color should they make the interior of submarines where people are going to be confined for a long period of time so they don't get anxiety. I remember one of those studies showed up. It was a part of his research in the Andromeda strain for the various levels, as they descend in the Andromeda strain through more and more sterility. So color matters. There was a very famous book about marketing, one of the very first that was for consumers, called The Hidden Persuaders by Vance Packard. And he talked about a certain dress that they showed a bunch of women, and they all thought the color was hideous. But when they told them it was this year's fashion, they bought it. So there are extenuating factors.
Yeah, I do know that some restaurants that do have red, so I'm not saying all restaurants with red are bad. I've seen some of you making comments in the chat. There are some Italian restaurants that will obviously have red, but then they try and mellow it out with like the brown coloring that they have with like the decor and the paintings and whatnot.
Or the baskets around the empty bottles of Chianti hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah,
I always thought the greatest thing in the world would be to open an Italian restaurant because you have to drink all that wine in order to decorate it. So
yeah.
Andy, what arcade should we put in all the retro Pizza Huts, Andy?
Ooh, wow, Pac-Man and Space Invaders.
Space Invaders is not bad.
Galaxian.
Jukeboxes, even if they're just for decor.
I would love
not?
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I miss a good jukebox. Andy, final thoughts on it.
I'd like to see more people get back into cooking again. Then they'd understand what real food was. You can make your own things for a lot cheaper and a lot better tasting. A lot of the places we go to now, it tastes so fake but so many people, especially young people over the last 20 years or so, have never had real food, so they don't know the difference. I get a lot of people that come to me about like diet advice, exercise and things. And once you get them changing a few things and cutting out all the sugars and stuff, then they go back to it and they're like, I can't stand the taste of it. They don't like it anymore because they've had the real thing. And I would love to see a healthier society for us to live in. I'd love to see people going out and exercising more and doing things like getting out and part of it is like where you live. You go down south and people wave to you as you drive by. They do it up here in the Northeast, but it's usually just waving with one finger. But
it's lighter that way.
But I'd like but you're right about when people get used to things. I remember I went to a health retreat once for a month, and part of it was they didn't put salt on anything. And they had celery sticks on the table, like a lot of places do. And I was in the routine, as most people were, of just sprinkling salt on celery. After the third day, that saltless celery tasted so salty because I was not overcompensating with the fake or the additional salt, So it's all about contrast.
And remember, folks, you can get healthy too at a Retro Pizza Hut, which definitely is not sponsoring this video. How so? Stop on by the salad bar, where you can find black olives, lettuce, and maybe a few other things, and plenty of ranch dressing, which I'm sure will help you with your figure once more. And it's time to say goodbye to one of our great panelists. Gary Ambrosia is out of here for today. Gary, thanks for coming our way. Tell the folks out there what you are up to on this great, big, beautiful web.
Well, you can catch me in the criminal right below me every Wednesday night on on Pop Culture Breakdown, which is hosted by Dictor Van Doomcock. And I got a channel on YouTube if you want to check it out. Maybe the wrenches can put a link for it in the chat. But hail to the chat, hail to the wrenches. Have a good one. We love you guys. See you later, and thanks for having me.
Later, Gary.
Bye, Gary.
Not a moment too soon, Gary's mic appeared to be losing out as we said goodbye to him with some static issues. I'm sure he'll get that fixed in the near term. Folks, as we get ready to go into the Super Chats, though, some of our panelists need just a brief break. They've been on camera for so long, they need to drop the smiles, they need to wipe their brows, they need to say, woo, this pro show goes on forever. And so, folks, if you'll give us just 60 seconds, we'll be right back.
Coming in too hot. I deflected
And back to the superstars, the show we go. It's you, ladies and gentlemen. The gigawatts are out there, and they have much to say. John for 20, I missed out on the 90s greatness of Pizza Hut. I was too broke back then, but I still cheer the success they're having. There's a couple obvious used-to-be huts near me. Those roofs are very recognizable.
See, I missed out on the 90s greatness because I wasn't born until 98. So I missed out on everything that was good in life.
You poor deluded girl.
I know. I also missed the high C ecto coolers. That's my biggest regret in life.
They were very high on food coloring back then, let me tell you. The Slimer, what were the Slimer ones called? Was that the ecto that had Slimer on it? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very green. Very green. The whole world changed when you were 3 years old, and never really went back together after that.
It didn't. I got
And now
screwed.
the only huts we think of are the Jabba variety, right?
I'd like to forget them after that movie.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it looks like they go to Pizza Hut on the regular.
Could be. And folks, if that hit poorly on Pizza Hut, we just want you to know that we're happy to accept Godfather's Pizzas, the next sponsor of the show. Are there Godfather's Pizzas around anymore? Do those exist? Anybody seen one of those?
I think they're still around, but
okay, I haven't seen one.
The one near me that's awfully good, that's the deep dish Detroit style, is Jet Pizza. Very good if there's one near you.
Go check it out. Archer Merchant for $5 had to step out, but did you see now, 50th anniversary February, will be airing Star Wars OG in theaters. I think, if we're talking about the same thing, I think that we're going to get the original George Lucas releases too, which will really, really drive up the box office on that. So hang tight. Hawaii Dragon Star for $5. Pizza Hut is trying to change the current plan of less costs and more profits for individuality and experience. It has to be long-term versus short. Indeed, as we said, if the food's not good, nobody's going to continue going. Fix that, and you fixed a bunch. John for $5.
That guy had 80 some odd outlets, and he's converting 34 of them. Yum Brands total, with all the various brands worldwide, 63,000 restaurants in 155 countries. So it's a drop in the ocean, but it's a good start, I guess.
It's a good start. By the way, folks, we are at 35 out of 50 on the Super Chat goal counter. Let's see, it is still stuck over there on the YouTube side. We do apologize. We can't fix that. That's the YouTube's. But 35 out of 50 on the Super Chat goal today. John for $5. All restaurants are Taco Bell now since the franchise wars.
Demolition Man.
We've got Tennille the 10th for $2. What's the plural for Andy? Is it Andy-I? Andes? Andiesies?
That's a good question.
I think it's the Andeses.
I think it would be an Andy with a thing.
One of those swirly letters we can't identify.
Yes.
I normally know what it is, but it's like one of those things where it's like when I'm on the stream, I just my brain blanks out and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I love doing that in front of people.
I'd put a 3 at the end. Tennille the 10th for $2. Not the worst problem to have, certainly. Indeed. Rowan of Strata for $2. Planters needs to bring back the PB Crisps for $1. I'd like the Butterfinger BBs. Why did we get rid of Butterfinger BBs? That people had to have been buying those. Why did they have to go? And I'll tell you a weird one too. Back in about 2000, when would that have been? 2004, 2005. Coca-Cola, and I don't drink regular Cokes, and I don't drink sugary sodas almost ever. It would be ultra rare, once or twice a year. But they had a Coca-Cola Black, spelled BLAK, where they put espresso syrup in the coffee. Do you remember that, Andy?
Really?
It was only around for a short time.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. And then they got rid of it. It's still available in France. So maybe next time I'm in France. John for $5. You know, Pepsi used to have the 7th biggest navy in the world because post-Cold War Russia traded battle cruisers and destroyers for Pepsi.
Priorities. I like it.
I think it's still the case that Disney World has the 13th largest ownership of boats in the world. Now, they're, a lot of small stuff. But yes, submarines. If Disney has the 13th largest grouping of submarines.
No, but that's when the submarines opened at Disneyland. That's what they said. They said it was like the 6th or 7th largest submarine fleet in the world. So.
Back then for 20,000 leagues, now for Nemo over at Disneyland, yeah. We've got Detailed Devil for $1.99. Anyone try Pizza Hut's new hand-tossed pizza yet? I have not.
The quotes worry me.
Hand-tossed tossed, eh?
That means DoorDash hand tosses it into your door. I don't know, but
That's the
that's
best.
how they do it. Just frisbee it at the door.
That's the best of the ratings. Lady Games for $4.99. Pandemic isolation is still affecting behavior. People relearning social interaction. Home
that's a good
delivery is
point.
damaged eating
Good
out and
point.
leaving the house.
Good point. I hadn't thought about the pandemic in that regard, but you're right.
And it really affected the people who are just now becoming adults because they were in their formative years when we shut everything down. And that changed a lot of stuff in ways that we will be dealing with for decades to come, I'm afraid. Let's not do that again. I didn't like it. Tanil the 10th for 5. Oh, God, not the blue shrimp. Even just hearing about it again, I'm approximately as appetized now as I was after watching that scene from Hannibal. For those who don't know, and we won't put the picture up on the screen lest Tanil lose his 10th lunch, the blue shrimp are from the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel, where they would submerge the shrimp, the boiled shrimp, in what's called blue spirulina in order to color them a magnificent fluorescent blue color, which gave them a very, well, not pleasant appearance.
So,
I'll say that.
I want to know, now that the Imagineers have taken over the building, did they keep the kitchen, and is that like the lunchroom? And are they still serving the blue shrimp to the employees?
I hope they have to eat blue shrimp every day. I hope every day they have to eat those things. John for 20. I remember 60 Minutes or In Search Of or something having an episode about pink rooms to put students in that had been in a fight. Can I just say, John, that as I was reading this, I stuttered on the pink rooms because I wondered, where is this going? But now we're okay again. They calm down faster. There's also books about blue rooms being better for babies' smarts. Caro, this has got to be one for you. I do not know enough about the psychological impacts of colors. What say you with John and what he's researching here?
They do a lot. So I went through, I've done so many careers, guys, don't judge me. But like at one point when I was doing my special education career, because I wanted to work with, children with diagnosis, we did have a section where they talked about like the way that some children respond to colors. But, for me, it was a little skewed because I was working with children that were diagnosed with autism, and they react very differently to lots of different things. So they don't all respond to one color the same. So one kid, we'll call him Mickey, doesn't like the color blue. So anytime he sees the color blue, he has a tantrum, right? And it's stuff like that that also makes like trying to decorate the rooms kind of interesting because if you guys think about it, like at least when I was in elementary school, I can't speak for everybody else who's in the chat or on the screen. But like when I was in elementary school, like my teacher decorated the room, right? Like it was a, she would personalize it for all of the students. So that way it felt like a place that we belonged in right now. If you go look into some of the rooms right now, there's nothing in there. They're just blank white walls. They've got no posters. There's nothing there. And I don't know if that's because the teachers are in like a place of transition, or if it's because they're told not to decorate, because I have heard of both of those. But yeah, so I'm
not a fan of sterility. Sterility reminds me of when I go to hospital hallways and I think, I don't want to die here because this just looks like just such a sterile place. I'm not suggesting I want to die in a place that has roses and sunshine either, but I'll put that off till the last bus goes out. But at the same time, have you ever had that feeling where you go to some place and you think, I wouldn't want to exist here for very long? It's bland, it's dark, it's drab. I don't like that.
Yeah, that was one of my co-teachers' rooms. Like, so she and I, if you guys couldn't tell, I decorate, right? And so her room had like nothing in it. It was like completely bare, and like the kids always felt uncomfortable. But like in my room, it had pictures and stuff on there. And part of it was because when you came into my classroom, you had to immediately apply for a job. That's what you had to do. And so the kids would make pictures of themselves doing the job, and then we would have it on the wall. And it was like a thing that they could see. It was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to water the plant. So then they would go water the plant. So
what grade, what age were these kids?
I taught middle school. So they were 6th grade. Yeah.
You are a brave soul.
Yeah. Well, it was because when they're in elementary school, they're getting the basics of it. But like in middle school is when the hormones are kicking in. But that's also like the time that you really need to get in there and start working with the kids so that way they can develop skills to be successful. Because if you just let them flounder, then they'll kind of like revert into like whatever's easier. And then they just struggle for like the next 5 years.
I always think that 7th grade is the most interesting age in a person's life because you are simultaneously probably the worst you will ever look, and you're attracted to the people who look the worst they will ever look. It's a very strange time, right? Because they can't stop looking and wanting to touch each other, and yet you say, you smell and you glisten. What is wrong with you?
Well, it's so that time period is so interesting because I'm getting nerdy for a minute, but because one of the things that happens is there's a shift from being family focused to being friend focused, right? So it kind of goes back to like when we were cave people and we would leave the cave to go find people to reproduce.
Right.
And so one of the things that occurs is that your brain actually rewires itself once you hit puberty. So when people are like, I feel like my child is losing their mind, it's like, well, because they are. Like literally everything is getting unhinged and put back together right now. So you have to it's a rough 4 years. Just hang in there with them. It's going to
It's also about environment though, because for example, in my case, in 6th grade, we moved from Baldwin Hills, a nice suburb of LA, to Beverly Hills. And the difference, I was just discovering there were girls. They'd already discovered it and then some when I went to where I moved to. You know what I mean? So different areas, different milieu have different speeds of adaptation.
Yeah. And, it's funny to me that the way human development works is if you've done it right, your kid will be so cute and lovable, right, for the earlier parts. And that's what allows you to have the patience to stay with them through the teenage years when they are biologically programmed to nauseate you to the point you allow them to leave your home. Because you spent like 12 years falling in love with this little creature and they're your everything. And then they will spend the next 4 years convincing you that, no, it's okay to let me go. I'm a Tasmanian devil in disguise. But if you do it right, by the time they're in 20s again, you've got a heck of a road ahead with both of you. So play well, friends. Detail Devil for $1.99. My only good sleep comes after eating sourdough pizza.
Oh.
That's great medicine then. If that's the medicine you need, you have found something that's more pleasant than I would say the other options.
The Noid. I remember the Noid.
That's right. The Noid needs to return. Vera, did you also miss out on Nintendo Power cereal system and Nerds cereal?
I unfortunately did miss out on all that.
Well, I'm going to raise my hand and say I didn't even know there was Nerds cereal. So, and I lived through all this.
Well, do you remember Quisp and Quake?
Yeah. No, I don't remember Quisp and Quake.
Yeah. Well,
I remember Cookie Crisp.
No, Hanna-Barbera cereal characters, but Jay Ward. Pardon me, Jay Ward.
Okay.
Quisp and Quake. Yeah, it was kind of a spinoff from Dudley Do-Right and all the rest of them.
The days when toys were buried in the boxes of cereal. Chef Eddie for $5. I just want to live in a world where you do not even have to ask for much less pay for extra cheese on a pizza. Darn it, give me my extra cheese, he says. We've got Tennille the 10th for $2. Nah, the stuck counter is probably my fault. That's a very meta joke, Tennille the 10th, but yes,
you probably think this song's about you, don't you? Don't you?
Folks, for the update, we are currently at 40 out of 50 on the Super Chat goal. Moving right along, we've got John for $5 Pro talking about Butterfinger made me remember whatchamacallits. Remember those? I do remember whatchamacallits. I didn't know they were gone. They were never such a big thing that I guess, I just assumed they still exist somewhere out there. Anybody seen a whatchamacallit lately? Andy says you have. Andy, you've seen a whatchamacallit out there in the wild?
I saw a thingamabob that did the job, but it was...
Oh, boy. Who's it and what's it's galore.
I think the last time I saw a whatchamacallit was probably in Dollar Tree. It was probably a few years out of date, but...
That is kind of the bad thing about these foods and drinks that are no longer made. You can't save them. I wouldn't recommend it, okay? If you want to be that guy who drinks them and says, got to get my bearings straight, he made a big name for himself on YouTube, and I'm just glad he's still alive. Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle for $4.99. We used to go out to Pizza Hut nearly once a week back in the 80s. Haven't had their stuff in years. Well, I do hope you're still getting pizza somewhere with friends. That's a good time. Tennille the 10th for $2. Sorry, Andy, meant as a compliment, but I'm tired.
So can we tie all this together by saying there are probably more people eating Pizza Hut this weekend than went to see The Mandalorian and Grogu?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. We need to break it down.
That's a price comparison. Did you go to Pizza Hut or did you go and watch the movie?
Yeah.
So once we get the final numbers, I can tell you that we've already assigned, we're going to get an article out. We know that the average ticket price for The Mandalorian and Grogu has been reported at about $18, and I'm going to miss that by a few cents, but about $18, which is super high. And once we get the final numbers for the first weekend, we're going to divide that number and we're going to figure out how many tickets got sold. And we may just throw in a blurb about Pizza Hut traffic. And nobody who reads that article is going to understand why. They're going to say, what in the world? Why did they measure this versus Pizza Hut? But you all out there, you'll know.
Now there's a precedent. The Economist used to measure the world's economy based on what a Big Mac costs in various countries around the world, because they said it was the one standard item that was basically the same no matter where you bought it. And they would measure currencies compared to each other based on the Big Mac index. So there you go.
There you go. Big Mac. I remember that. Sephiroth for 5. Number 51. I have counted every Super Chat Pro. I numbered every one. Sephiroth, we only count the ones that are $4.99 and higher. That's how our numbers are slightly different. Right now, I see that we are at 43. Sephiroth, if I've got that wrong, if we actually have had more, let me know. We're trying to do this as best we can with the counter broken. But I believe 43 is the number of Super Chats at $4.99 or higher. Archer Merchant for 5. I know it's more politics, but if they reopen Farah, do you think it would rock YouTube, Twitch, etc.?
I don't really know how.
Yeah, I don't suspect that it would. I don't think YouTube would be rocked. I'm trying to think. The Twitch angle here is throwing me off. I'm trying to think how that would affect Twitch. So,
which is really just Amazon.
Right. And then I'm trying to think about like what's the effect on X, because a lot of people are watching stuff on X now, even though X is more like Facebook. Anyway, it gets complicated, but I don't think so, Archer Merchant. Thinking about it for the first time, I haven't put a lot of thought to it. Give us your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about that and the angle you have. Michael Steele for 5. Caro, they have Ron on the show. He's done every job that has ever existed.
Yes.
Caro, have you been on with Ron Bradley yet? Have you been on the show with him?
I don't think so.
He's a wild man. I mean, he's done literally every job, from the gondolier at the in Vegas to he's played Gaston for Disney to, you know, we had Dean Cain on the show one time. And the next show, Ron is on. And we're talking about some of the answers Dean Cain had given to some of the questions we had. And Ron said, "Oh, you should have me on." And we said, "Why?" And he said, "I worked with Dean Cain." I said, "What do you mean you worked with Dean Cain?" He said, "Oh, yeah, I was in a movie with him." Get out of here. What are you talking? Every time with Ron. Every time. John for 5. Blank walls would be preferable to the propaganda BS teachers are putting in classrooms today. Talking about those types of flags, etc. It's a huge problem, especially in urban schools. I'll tell you that. There was a time years ago that I walked into the library of an urban high school, and I was shocked at all of the iconography for distinctly, specifically one-sided political propaganda. And I said, my, oh my, if the kids think this is normal, then they're in a bubble. They don't know what society actually thinks at large. This is so skewed. DEFCON Prime for 5. As a former New York and Florida teacher, both states said, show more kids work, a word wall, etc. Posters had to have purpose, they said. But I still got results. Way to go, and thank you for helping teach the kiddos. Very good of you. Black Jonas is out there, member for 2 months. Hi, diddly ho, Panelinos. Have a blessed day to all. Well, thank you, Jonas. I think the word black is just redundant. We already knew. Flying blind on a rocket cycle for $4.99. My idea for rapid turnover restaurant. Put it in a DMV and staff it with their employees. Gonna take a long time to get those meals. Kaylee Olive for 5. Nerds cereal. 2 different flavored bags by Ralston. Whatchamacallits are still in stores. CVS, look for Nestle. I remember them pre-caramel. Okay, so whatchamacallits are still out there at CVS, folks. Go get your whatchamacallits today. We covered the other day Sobeys. Those drinks, you remember the Sobeys that had the lizards on them? They were barely in production, but they've just stopped in the last few weeks. So if you missed out on the Sobey craze, folks, sorry, they've gone away. John for 5, nearly every cereal exists now. There's Butterfinger cereal, Milky Way cereal, etc., etc. I recommend you go get the real stuff. Go get stuff that's made out of real granola. You know, there's healthy versions out there. Go get that stuff. And dark chocolate, too. Great for you. Sephiroth for 2. I have only counted only $4.99 and higher pro. Huh? All right, Sephiroth, we may have missed the counter. I can tell you right now. Let me go back up here. Sephiroth. Let me add it up again. 1, 2, 3, 4. To Sephiroth, on my counter, we're at 47 now. 47, so we'll see. Let's see, but I think either way, we're going to hit the goal. Packing protons for 2. Anyone remember Choco Bliss? Just barely.
Think it's Choco.
Is it Choco Bliss?
Well, as in chocolate.
I'm going to tell you
Choco,
what I
as in you might choke
Like
on it if you eat
Chocobo?
it.
Like chocobos. Okay, here's the
Close
one that
enough.
I think. Here's the world is being punished right now. Do you all remember Choco Tacos? Frozen ice cream things.
Yeah, I used to eat those. Yeah.
Yeah, they were awesome. I only had like 3 in my life, and they stopped making them.
They can bring them back.
They should.
They used to sell them at Dodger Stadium, Pro.
How unfair is it that Klondike bars are still around and Choco Tacos are gone? Nobody wants a Klondike bar. John for 5, I kind of remember the Big Mac Index, but more importantly, we have a FEMA SIT that measures site that measures whether Waffle House is open during an emergency or not.
Yep.
That's right. Waffle House will stay. They'll keep the lights on. Motel 6, who knows? But Waffle House, they're there for you. And Bruce Newhouse for $1.99. Ron has to be a CIA special operative. That's how he knew how to hide out in the Columbia Harbor House second floor bathrooms. And John for 5, LOL, I do love me some dark chocolate. All right, according to my calculations, we are one more super chat away from the goal. Sephiroth says we've already passed it, but folks, we're going to hit it. I know we will. And we've got another story. One last left one to go. Folks, Pro is so tired he can't even grammar anymore. Let's go now to the story of Jaguar, and we'll see what is happening there. Do you all remember when we covered the woke commercial from Jaguar, and it was totally outside the normal stuff we do, but we tied it into the Super Bowl because it is entertainment, right? Commercials. But what if I told you that the woke efforts of Jaguar have backfired in ways that are absolutely spectacular? And I'm going to argue that it could be, in fact, the very end of woke. No joke. Let's go there right now. It just might be the very end of Jaguar after going super duper ultra woke. Folks, they've dropped 99.44% of their profits. Holy cow, you never see this kind of data, but there it is. And for those of you who are saying, what are we talking about? What are we going woke? Do you remember this, folks?
Yeah.
Jaguars copy nothing. This was when they prepared to release their Tesla killer, all electric vehicles, and they looked like the Batmobile was sprayed with lipstick. Here's the commercial. Hey, wait a minute. I want my audio. Did I turn the audio off? Play it. Great car commercial. Just wonderful.
With no car.
Yeah, right? Like, how are you going to market a car
If you saw that car, you'd know why they didn't show it.
Well, that's true.
It looked like the Batmobile made out of liquid lipstick. I mean, it's just terrible.
Oh, my favorite thing is like the executives, when they saw this, they were like, who approved this? And they were like,
We all did, sir. All of us.
And how much did it cost to make that commercial?
So Jaguar came out with that. And this, by the way, this came out right around the Bud Light situation. You all know the Bud Light situation.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the effect on it all? Andy, get the Bud Light situation ready to go. I know you've got the right action figure for this. The effect of it is that in the year that has followed, okay, we've got a year now, 99.44% drop in profits. The company's latest financial results are staggering. This is by David Manty out of IEN, Industrial Equipment News. No, it's not IGN. We prefer this website, in fact. It says Jaguar Land Rover yesterday released financial results for its fiscal year 2026, which ended March 31st. We now know just how big an impact the company's many trials and tribulations had on the automaker, and the results are staggering. In fiscal year 2025, the company reported a profit of 2.5 billion pounds. That's equivalent to $3.3 billion USD. In fiscal year 2026, for the full year, profit before tax and exceptional items was 14 million pounds, or 18.7 million USD. That's a drop of 99.44%. Now, it gives us some reasons that it believes this is true. A severe cyber attack. Says they took the entire year off from selling Jag vehicles as they switched to EVs from gas. Then the tariffs. Blah, 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 blah. There's so many reasons for this. But can I tell you all that the real reason, and you know it, is they went woke. They didn't succeed in what they were attempting to do, which was launch an entire EV brand, turn Jaguar into an EV thing like Tesla or like Rivian. They went with woke advertising and it blew up in their faces tremendously. And how do you not have profits? Because nobody kept buying the cars. Because nobody wanted anywhere near this stuff. Same thing that happened to Bud Light, by the way.
And that's the point. It isn't just, well, do I want this or a Beamer or whatever? It's, I don't want anything that has anything to do with these crazy people. It's a negative. Oh, there we go.
Look at that. Look at that. Is that still for sale at Walmart, Andy? Did you get that deal done with Walmart?
I've actually have made money on woke.
You're the one.
This one made money. Okay, so panel, here's the deal. I think that companies are fleeing this woke movement now. Like, we're past that. Now, woke's not dead, and there are people who want to bring it back. But the companies with the shareholders and all that, I think they're moving on because I think they believe that it will be the death of them if they attempt it. Maybe not Disney, maybe not a few others, but most companies look at what happened to Jaguar, they look what happened to Bud Light, and they say, no. I love my mansion by the sea, and this is a detriment to me if we go there. Vera, what do you think? Should I be less optimistic, maybe even pessimistic, looking at the gaming industry in Hollywood? Or are these the tales, the canaries in the coal mine that say the woke era really is in the past?
I mean, on one hand, yeah, like companies can only lose so much before they don't exist anymore. And so they're going to have to shift their marketing and their products. But ultimately, I will believe it when I see it, and we're not still seeing it. And in the case of like the video game industry, right, it can take 10 years for a game to come out. So we're not going to fully know if a company has actually changed their outlook and the people they're hiring for a very long time.
Phenomenal point.
Right. And we're not going to know like the full effects of how they've changed. But ultimately, I don't see these larger companies like Ubisoft, for example. I don't see them, even if they fire thousands of people, getting rid of their, we'll just call them for argument's sake, DEI divisions. These people will just these people will just be moved to either different divisions within the company. They're not going to just get rid of like the DEI like framework that they've already put in place in case they need it again in the future. That's what Marxists do. They rename, they change, and they are ultimately like chameleons, and they're going to try to blend in until they're needed. And maybe in a couple years, these companies will want to shift back to pushing these sort of narratives and ideologies, and this company structure will go back. But I mean, we haven't even seen them go forward and ultimately try to change in most cases. But yeah, I mean, the companies can only take so many losses before they have to say enough is enough if they are smart enough. And while there are going to obviously be companies that aren't smart enough to change, and well, we see what's happening with them. They're going under.
We are indeed. Carol, your thoughts on this? The pipeline point is so important. It's going to take years for companies to clear this out. But some companies won't survive because of what happened in the woke era.
They won't, and some of them are kind of stuck in their ways. I'm going to use publishing as an example because there's definitely a branch in publishing where they're kind of like, no, this is the thing and this is what we want to go for. And in those cases, I think woke just needs to be a genre, right? So if you want to make a game, just openly say we are making a woke game or we're making a woke product, and if people really want to do the woke stuff, then they'll go buy it. Otherwise, it needs to stop being snuck into everything under the idea that it's what people want right now. I think it's really interesting that people who have a lot of money weren't woke, but then once they get comfortable in their money, they become woke. So it's like they forgot how they got where they were. If that makes any sense.
No, I get it. I get it. Carol, could you talk specifically in an area an area that you work in publication and in comics? What has happened to the comic industry as a result of being woke for 15 years?
Actually, a better example is going to be romance writers.
Sure, walk us through that.
So romance writers are notoriously liberal, to the point where every time I talk to somebody who's a conservative in the romance community, they get ostracized a lot. And what's really interesting is that liberal authors actually spend a lot of time fighting each other. So like a couple years ago, we had I don't know what the state of it is because I walked away from that hot mess, but we had a Romance Writers of America, and what they're in charge of is giving out awards and saying who the best romance writer and all that was. And no surprise to anybody, they really just kind of promoted their friends, which made all the woke people like come out of the woodwork and say, well, you're not doing it for this, and you got no DI, you've got no blah 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 blah. And that has really rippled into the romance thing in two different ways. One, I have found the books that are woke, and they're terrible. I don't even mean like the romance is terrible. I mean like they're so busy like trying to do all the check boxes and say like somebody's neurodivergent or somebody has ADHD or that person's so strong because they're making a point to like showcase these things that I don't want to read the book. And then the weird other backlash is that people who are so tired of it like kind of go to the other end of the pendulum swing where the books are like so badly raunchy just for the sake of like kicking it back to the other side that it's also unreadable. So it's like it's really bad. And I don't know if that's going to get any better because I think the people who actually could do really well on that are very soft spoken. They just don't want to like cause any problems or come under fire. Like a really good romance writer is Grace Davin. She's phenomenal, but she's definitely like, I'm not touching there. I'm not making any problems. And I think that's sad because when you have talented people who don't want to showcase themselves because they're afraid of the reaction from the rest of the community, like they're really just hurting themselves and their craft at that point. Comic book wise, we can take a look at the big two and how they keep trying to like work in all that stuff to the point where it takes away from what drew us to the comic in the first place. Like I don't read comics because I want to know what's going on in the world. I can turn on the news for that. I want to read comics because I want to see heroes doing hero things and make me feel like there actually is some good or hope out there instead of being kind of like, well, things are terrible and we hate orange people. So let's just focus on that.
That's right. It's fascinating too, that as we, these companies try to move away from it and it's an existential crisis. See Star Wars. They still have the same personnel. So now these people who they were passionate about being woke and pushing this agenda, it's like if you take that away from them, there's nothing left. And so I think that's how we're now getting boring entertainment. It's not like we suddenly, left that era and entertainment jumped into being great again, or these movies understood marketing and it's wonderful again. It's like now it's just mush. Just mush because they don't know what to give the market because they don't understand the market anymore. It's not like Jaguar came out of this and jumped up and said, oh, well, now we get it. They want the same kind of cars we used to make. No, they didn't get out of the wilderness, Andy. Everybody left the woke era, and now most of them are in the wilderness, the 40 years of trying to find out, okay, who are we again, and what is the market again, and what do we do with a workforce that doesn't understand the people we're selling to?
I think that most people were confronted with all this woke stuff. And a lot of people went and they did a little bit of self-reflection and said, you know what? No, this doesn't really apply to me. I'm not a horrible person. I'm not, because it's not just tolerance, and it's like it's the little eyeball things from Clockwork Orange that you have to sit there and like, no, you're going to sit there and look at this. Well, people aren't subjected to that. They can turn the TV off. They can buy other cars. They can do all this. And now you've got the comeuppance for it because the people that try to like the Larry Finks of the world that want to drive culture, they want to change things. Well, Mao tried that, and he had all the force of like the Chinese government behind him, and he couldn't really do it. So you're not going to change happens organically. It happens by two people that may come from different backgrounds, but they get together on the things they can agree on, and they learn to. There's things about each other that they like or dislike, whatever. But you can't force it. People are people, and people inherently don't like to be told what to do. So as these companies have learned their lesson or are learning their lessons, I think it's going to be an interesting thing because there's going to be some people out there that refuse to budge, and they're going to keep sticking to their guns, and they're going to go bankrupt. You're going to have the Bud Lights where. Not the Bud Lights, but the Alicia Heinerschlag. She's probably going to go somewhere. She'll never get a job again, at least in that market, from what she did. But I don't think that she'll change her mind. I think she's going to be one of these people that they think that they're right. They were right, and just everybody else was just not informed enough to see it. I'm glad to see that the people, though, have rejected things that paint them as villains, and you're some kind of terrible person if you don't embrace what I believe fully. And I think that's what's really happening with a lot of this. It's like, and we have no tolerance for it because, like, I think that's one of the reasons you see the problems we do with streaming. No one, they wait and see what it's going to be. And that's why there's so much binge watching, because, like, you don't want to get hooked in on 3 shows out of a 6-episode series. And then the last 2 completely flip the script, and then you have Girl Boss and everything like that. So hopefully Wall Street will learn. Anybody that wants to make money will learn. Give people what they want rather than what you think they should want.
Lou, I'm going to turn to you for the final word on this. As a guy who owned a Jaguar,
yes,
and
remember,
memories.
Jaguar hasn't been that Jaguar, and they've gone through 2 or 3 different ownership changes. I think Ford owned it for a while, and then it moved to Germany, and so my Jag was the real Jag back in the day with my first car. Oh, I miss it so. But look, what Andy just said about people having a choice. The whole purpose of all this bullying is to remove the option of a choice. The whole purpose is to say my way or the highway, and you have no choice, as a way of imposing their views on the world. Doesn't work because, thank God, we live in a capitalist society. It works in a place where there's only brand X, where, the old saying in the Soviet Union was about Pravda and Izvestia, which meant truth and news, that there was no truth in the news, no news in the truth, but you only had the 2 brands to choose from, and it was no choice at all. But we do have a choice. And as a certain guy once told Indy, choose wisely. Choose wisely.
Choose wisely. Folks, I'll tell you this, on the positive side for Jaguar, I was at the Mecum car auction in Orlando a year ago. Coolest car there was the original and the only Jaguar from the Austin Power Series, a 1967 E-Type. And let me tell you, what a cool car. They only had one. They had a budget for one. So all the things it needed to do were still right there in the car. Everything, every stunt, and it was so cool to see how they worked everything in to make sure it could do everything they needed from scene to scene.
I went to a car show once where a guy had about a 19, whenever they first did the XJ, the low slung beauty. And I said, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. How does it drive? And he said, like an 80-year-old car, so there are the upsides and the downsides. All these people that want the originals, I would love to put a brand new modern chassis and engine and everything in an old classic car body or imitation.
Yeah, because the exteriors are beautiful, but when you get in them, you'll change your mind real fast, especially if you have to drive the thing. Same thing with the DeLoreans. The DeLoreans are awful, terrible cars. You would never want to drive a DeLorean unless you're a masochist. I mean, it struggles to get to 40, so little known 88. But what do they call that?
I still want Banachek's car. I want that 1941 Darren Victoria. Oh God!
Ghost. What do they call it when is it a retrofit when they go in and they redo all of the interior and they update it?
I don't know, but that's my feeling. Is I don't care about the authenticity of what's under the hood. I want it to be safe.
The exteriors are beautiful,
but the exteriors and the interior of the passenger compartment, great leather, great wood. But
Vera, I've seen some of those retrofits. Maybe that's the answer for Jaguar. Let's go get the old ones and let's retrofit them. Some of the people who retrofit these things, it's incredible. I mean, it's amazing what they do.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's where we'll leave it for Jaguar, but not good for them. Cracker Barrel struggling too. Pizza Hut racing to go back to retro because they know that's what you want. And the whole woke era falling apart in front of us. Ladies and gents, we did hit the Super Chat goal, and we had 2 stories that I wanted to do today badly. We'll save those for tomorrow, so hang tight, folks. We'll get those out. What you can expect tomorrow is we are going to be talking about, did Pedro Pascal rip off the real guys who played Mandalorian? Get ready for this story. You're not going to believe it. You want to be here tomorrow for that one.
You want to give away who one of those guys is?
the grandson of John Wayne.
That's right.
So
he's the body double inside the suit.
And he got paid pennies while Pedro sat on his bum. The other story we tried to do last night, we wanted to do it today, but we got delayed. And the story we are going to get out there tomorrow is that they changed the ride at Disney, Smuggler's Run, Millennium Falcon, changed it to Mando, and the ride level or the wait times actually went down.
Yeah.
Never seen that before. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the Pro Channel. Kayla out for 2, Choco Taco, Mexican Iron Man's desert menu. Or dessert. Yeah, sorry. Boy, this is why we got to wrap.
It would melt fast in the desert, that's for sure, yeah.
That's right. Pro's brain has been, he's been completely tuckered out. There can only be one, or there can be only one for 5. With the Salutify, thank you, good to see Highlander. iRate Specialist for $4.99 in the 90s. 90% of the U.S. homes consumed cereal daily. Today, it's about 12%. Cereal use is on the drop. A lot of people skip breakfast completely. You know, I support not eating cereal for breakfast. I mean, it's an okay sometimes food, but you'd be far better off eating eggs for breakfast. They're packed with all kinds of minerals and nutrients that you need, vitamins that are hard to get otherwise. So eat an egg.
We always have to do that. We're not giving financial advice. Should we also say we're not giving medical advice?
No medical advice, no nutritional advice, but folks, you'll enjoy the egg. Trust me. Your spouse may not. Go brush your teeth afterwards. Let's see. We've got Sorel Argonis for 5. The new EV Ferrari is just as bad, if not worse, than the Jag attempt. I don't understand these companies. I don't understand. They switch to EV, and it's fine to have an EV. The launch time on an EV is phenomenal. However, why do you have to make it look ugly? It can still look freaking cool. Do that. You know, I expect when the Tesla Roadster comes out, which they're supposed to be announcing in like a month or so, like showing it off, that thing's going to look amazing. Elon Musk says it. Well, he doesn't say this, but it's kind of been leaked. They may actually have that thing hover somehow. Do that. We've got Neo for 5 for the goal. Great show as ever, Pro and panel. Neo, you are the one. And Packing Protons for 2. Music is about the only good thing about the Jag ad. You like the music? We've got John for 5. Really, YouTube, I can't say androgynous? Fine. 2,000 cool cars. 2025. Don't know how to pronounce car. It's hard. England for 5. I worked for Chuck E. Cheese. Really? For the 1? When they introduced Surge to our soda fountains, awful. You can't give that level of caffeine and sugar to a 5-year-old. For those who don't know the backstory on Surge, it was the answer to Mountain Dew, but also the answer to, at the time, the very first energy drinks were coming out. And Surge was supposed to be, I believe, from Coca-Cola. I believe Coca and Surge.
Yeah, that was going to be the people's version of Red Bull, so to speak.
The combination of Mountain Dew and Red Bull into a single soda, Surge. And listen, not for 5-year-olds. Probably should have had a disclaimer, but you know, it's worth a try one time. You don't need more than that. Spartan Bot for 2 words: Ferrari Luce, woke adjacent IMO. Did I get that right, Lou? Did I say that right? Ferrari Luce.
Yeah,
I'm happy with myself. England for 2. They should bring back pull tab smoky machines. Isn't that funny that YouTube? I'm smart enough to know we can't say the word and they'll ding us. John for 10, there was a story about a year ago where somebody created a Batmobile replica and drove it around. And then some meanie town mayor or something tried to find the owner endlessly. I have seen lots of replicas of the Batmobile and the different versions of the Batmobile. I'll tell you, if it's the Christopher Nolan version of it, you probably should not have that out on the road. I saw the replica. In fact, it may have been the original. And hidden in that, I think it is the original. Hidden in the original are 2 propane tanks in order to create the fire out of the back of it. So I don't know if you want to be on the road and have somebody wreck into 2 propane tanks behind you.
No, that would not be good. That would not be good. Especially
not a way
since
to
the
go.
body's fiberglass and there's nothing to stop impact.
That's right. All right, folks, the impact to you will be truly amazing if you get over and subscribe to Vera Dark. Vera, tell the folks out there what you're up to and why you continue to rise and rise on the YouTube scene.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube and X, Veridark Dark Titan Media. I live stream video games Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern. Monday nights is FML with Ryan Kinnell. Wednesday nights is the Vera Virtue Show. And then I upload 2 to 3 videos a day talking about the entertainment and gaming spaces. And of course, tonight I'll be playing 007 First Light, which I'm a little skeptical over. I don't quite know how I feel about a modernized or reimagined James Bond, but I'm going to give it a shot. And then, of course, at the end of my playthrough, I'll review it, which video game journalists don't like to do and always complain about.
Now, Vera, is it true that Ryan right now is also in the land of the rising sun?
Yes, he is in Japan.
Have you talked to him? Is he okay over there? Because I don't know how he's going to get along with the Japanese. I'm worried about him over there.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to him really, so he's on his own.
Oh boy, that's the story. That's the book of his life.
It's fine as long as he buys lots of Pokemon cards and focuses on that instead of walking down the street saying offensive jokes. It'll be fine.
The good news for him, as long as he does it in English, at least 30% won't know what he's saying.
It's true.
Carol Brown, we know what you're saying, and it's all good stuff. Oh, we lost Carol. She's had enough. Darn it, taken out by the YouTube connection issues. Lou, it's time for you. Patreon.com/Lou'sViews. That's where they need to go. But also, you're on the Genre Guys, and we got a new episode coming out Friday this week. Tell the folks out there, what are you up to these days?
Well, I do the Genre Guys, and I do Lou's Views, which is my own little soapbox about all and sundry. And, well, you know, I show up here once in a while. And other than that, I have a real life. What a surprise.
Who knew? Who knew? Thank you, Lou. And Lou, always a treasure, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Folks, we earned the Super Chat goal. And let's hit it right now. It's a clip-a-thon. But before we do, get over there and subscribe to Lou's Views. You'll be happy that you did. All right, folks. Tomorrow is the day at 10 p.m. Later show than usual. But we'll have the camera on. The studio will finally be in its IRL state.
Which means, by the way, that we will probably not be doing the Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you, because you guys are going to be on late revealing the great reveal.
With surprises. And
Yes.
Lou, would you join us for that
absolutely.
tomorrow night?
Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful.
Where else
wonderful.
would I be?
Exactly. Well, I hope right here with you and me and everybody else out there. Folks, it's been a great time. It's been a good time. We'll see you for real tomorrow. First time ever turning that camera on. 3.5 years doing the Pro Show, Pro Channel, and, launched this thing into the 200K plus subscriber range. Got rid of a YouTube glitch. YouTube helped us do that, and things are looking wonderful in terms of growth again. And wow. It's time to move into a new era where we turn on the camera, live performances and all that stuff on the way too. And who knows, you may be able to come do a meet and greet at a convention with yours truly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you real soon. It's clip-a-thon time, right? Wait a minute. Where's the clip? Where's the clip? Oh, wait, I'm getting a notice. No, we've got all the super chats. Okay. Oh, yeah, all super chats are gone. Thank you, Jonas. All right, folks, super chat goal, clip-a-thon. Here we go.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain.
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh, who is the man who has t-shirt to sing? Arrogant, compromised all morality. If pimples and showers are something you miss, fire a policeman to keep your office. Cringe mob woke pants. Cringe mob woke pants. Cringe mob woke pants. Cringe mob woke pants. Cringe mob woke pants.
Hello there and hi there from Quick Buck Comics. We've been watching as companies like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Universal all universally suck. And then we watched as companies like Rippaverse and Big Man Comics came in to save the day. That's when we realized we could make crappy comics and do it the cheap way by not doing the hard work that Rippaverse and Big Man Comics were doing. We've got characters like John Maynard, William Thompson, and Staccato DDS. Why? Because we stole them from the WDW Pro audience. Because making characters is hard. And by the end of every comic, you get to draw your own panels. Why? Because art is hard. But please, folks, when you're done, make sure to buy our coffee that's made by someone else with our label slapped on it. Why? You guessed it. Making coffee is hard.
Lauren, I need to let you down gently. I told you to keep our relationship off the panel. It's over, Lauren. But I'll always remember the hats.
Producing Iron Pine Supply. Candles and body gear built for guys who split their own firewood and still call their dad coach. Light up fresh cut lawn and smell Saturday mornings done right. Oiled up baseball glove. Leather, pine tar, and a little victory. And mesquite sawdust. A campfire.
What in the world is that smell?
It's Musk Oxen Delight. It's pungent but poised.
It smells like a zoo covered in diesel fuel.
You love it, don't you?
Welcome to that Leering Center place. We understand how important it is to find the right care for your child. That's why our hours change week to week to best fit your family schedule. We maintain the highest standards of cleanliness with daily deep cleaning using safe, effective products. Every toy, surface, every snack is carefully tested to be non-toxic and completely safe. At that Leering Center place, we see ourselves as honored stewards, cherishing your children, respecting your precious time, and responsibly managing the resources that make quality care possible. We're here for you and your family today. Visit us today at that Leering Center place.
Plants have chlorophyll. Light hits the plant, causing it to grow. What also causes plants to grow?
Feeding them flesh. Yummy.
Yup!
Oh!
Why do you have that many Bidoofs in one ball?
I was out of Pokeballs. We need to get these guys to a Poke Center right away. Why? What would that do? So we can heal them? You can heal Pokemon? Oh, wow, I've just been throwing them away.
You are a dumb monster.
The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are...
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So folks, as we always say, as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still he got back to his feet. Standing man.